fan today in Atlanta. Fans of both the Clemson Tigers and the LSU Tigers gathered inside the Georgia World Congress Center to the sound of multiple renditions of Tiger Rag. With his magic touch, Kevin Falk of the LSU Tigers has electrified crowds throughout the '96 campaign. As first-team all-purpose All-America, his explosive style has catapulted the Bayou Bengals to elite status. But tonight, there's another Tiger in search of respect.
I've seen Priester win football games. I mean, he's a guy that not only do you have to make contact with, but you have to wrap up.
Clemson's Raymond Priester may be anonymous to some, but to opponents, he's known as one of the nation's best backs. Victory tonight in the Clash of the Tigers may depend on who wins the ground war. Tonight on the edge of downtown Atlanta, the Georgia Dome is the site for a clash between the ACC and the SEC. It's the 29th annual Peach Bowl. As from the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Clemson Tigers make their entry onto the Georgia Dome turf, getting set to do battle with, from the Southeastern Conference, the 17th ranked LSU Tigers. And welcome to Atlanta. I'm Dave Barnett. Well, let's start by counting the similarities, because the mirror images are numerous between these two sets of Tigers. Obviously, the nickname, the Tiger Rag fight song. They both play home games at Death Valley, but it goes beyond that. Both sets of fans are convinced that the right man is in place. Jerry Donato for LSU, Tommy West for Clemson, to lead these programs back to the glory days. Anton Christensen, one more similarity. Pretty good players on both sides of the ball.
A lot of good players. A lot of the attention, and justifiably so, has gone to the tailbacks. But the reality is that there's some pretty good defensive players in this contest as well. Anthony Simmons, outside linebacker for the Clemson Tigers. Numbers don't lie. Over 300 tackles in his first two seasons. That graphic you see right there is this, his sophomore season. He will be the favorite for the Butkus Award in 1997. On the other side for LSU is Alan Stansbury, leading the Tigers in tackles over the last two seasons. He is going to have to step up for them today to stop the running game.
And the guys they'll be chasing, two of the best tailbacks in the country, Kevin Falk for LSU, Raymond Priester for Clemson.
And very divergent styles for these two young men. Priester is a 230-pounder that can bang between the tackles, whereas Kevin Falk, a scat back that could go the distance at any time.
A trend that Clemson hopes continues tonight. The ACC has won the last 4 Peach Bowls. They've come by an average margin of 4 points per game. Tonight expected to be just that close.
My son insisted we try America Online. I said, what's in it for us? Now I know better. America Online makes our lives easier. It saves time and money, too. Look, I'll show you.
You've got mail.
My wife's family is all over the map. Big phone bills. Now she uses email. Just point, click. She says it's a great way to keep in touch. I don't mind saving for retirement anymore. I can research mutual funds, chart all my stocks, and do my banking all from home anytime I want. Now I have more time for family fun, like playing computer games. We download all our favorites and get a teacher's help with homework. No wonder the kids area earned the Parents' Choice seal of approval. I used to be intimidated by the internet and the World Wide Web, but thanks to America Online's great new web browser, I'm right at home. And there's more. Scan hundreds of magazines, get sports scores, enjoy hobbies, even shop online. So call this toll-free number and get everything you need to make your life easier and more fun.
Call 1-800-896-6400 for your free startup kit and 50 free hours.
ESPN's presentation of the Peach Bowl is brought to you by Gillette Sensor XL and the Gillette Series. Gillette, the best a man can get. And by the NASDAQ stock market. Visit www.nasdaq.com.
Back inside the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Clemson and number 17, LSU. And let's check in with the third member of our crew working the sidelines tonight. She's with Tommy West at Clemson, Pam Ward.
Okay, Tommy, tonight you're facing a great back in Kevin Falk. How do you stop him? How do you plan on stopping him?
Well, I hope we can stop him with the right amount of people inside. If not, then we'll have to commit more people to the run. And the people that have done that, they've hurt them with their tight end. But first, you better stop their running game.
Both of their losses, running backs have had big games against them. Is that your plan, and for just to use Raymond Priester a lot tonight?
Yeah, that's our style. I think we're going to have to mix it, though. I don't think we can just get into an all-out run. So we'll mix some play-action pass in with it.
Okay, The Peach Bowl tonight, just how's it feel to be here with your team? A rough start, and you're here.
Well, it feels great. I mean, you look around, you see all this orange here, and brings back memories from 1993, and it's great. Playing in bowl games is great.
Okay, thanks a lot. Good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
He's got to have pretty vivid memories of 1993 because it was his debut as the head coach of Clemson. He'd been at Tennessee Chattanooga all year and beat Kentucky 14-13. First time a coach has ever debuted with a bowl win after not coaching that team all season long.
Dave, as we look at that graphic, both coaches admitted to the fact that the team that throws the ball best, this is very strange considering, as you just saw, both teams, Jerry DiNardo, of course, you see right there, he was the one that was very emphatic over the fact that his quarterback, Herb Tyler, was going to have a great game throwing the ball for LSU to win. On the other side, Tommy West also confessed to the fact that they need to be successful with the ball in the air. They cannot be predictable.
Tommy West in his third year, 21-14. DiNardo's second year, and so popular down on the Bayou. Todd, he's kind of an honorary Cajun already.
Is that right?
16, 6-1 will do that after 6 straight losing seasons. But he said the thing about turning around a program like LSU is all you really have to do is convince people that it can happen. The talent, he says, was already there. He really just had to work on the psyches, which understandably were a little bit bruised after 6 straight losing campaigns.
Interesting, too. A lot of people speculated that that would be the man right there to be the next Notre Dame head coach. Of course, he was a co-captain on their championship team back in 1974 as an offensive guard. There you see Herb Tyler.
LSU 9-2 coming in. They lost at Florida big. Outgained 308-28 on the ground. The other one 26-0 at home against Alabama. And again, a big negative comparison on the ground.
Well, Sean Alexander set an Alabama record in that game with over 290 yards. But LSU has regrouped since that time.
LSU won the toss. They defer, and Clemson will receive the kick from Danny Boyd of LSU. Sam Zanders is back deep for the Clemson Tigers alongside Joe Woods. Clemson playing in its third Peach Bowl. LSU played in the very first Peach Bowl, a win over Florida State in 1968, and a good deep kick for a touchback. Clemson will go from its 20-yard line. And Nealon Green, the junior from Yonkers, New York, 5'11", 190 in the backfield with Priester and Emery Smith, whose brother Emmitt Smith got a big win today. Kenya Crooks, the leading receiver, junior from Seneca, South Carolina, with 29 catches, 2 for scores, and an average of 15 yards per catch. Jim Bundren, the only tackle ever to start every game his first 3 years at Clemson, and a first-team All-ACC selection. Both these schools, one more similarity for you, led their conferences in rushing this year. First give of the night is to Emery Smith for a yard. Anthony McFarland and Charles Smith on the tackle for the LSU defense, which features Chuck Wiley, first-team All-SEC, classic overachiever, junior from Baton Rouge up front. Stansbury, the leading tackler, third leading tackler with 90 stops this year. Pat Rogers, who had 19 against Tulane, 2 off the school record. And Mark Roman, is a true freshman, has made some All-America freshman units and was selected the SEC Defensive Freshman of the Year. Gain of 2, call it. And stacked up for no gain that time. On his first carry was Priester, and there's the first tackle by Stansbury.
Once again, you see what happens when you're going against an offense that runs the ball. LSU crams 8 in the box. There's some people that you can't block. In this case, it was Stansbury that's able to come through untouched and put Clemson in a situation they don't want to be in, and that being 3rd and long.
So extra wideout, Brian Wofford checks in. If you look at the numbers for Green, regarded as a better than expected passer. 3rd in the ACC, in fact, behind Kildorf and Busby. Lets this one go long for Woods. It's caught at the 44-yard line.
The thing that's impressive about this is the fact that he rolls to his left. He's a right-handed thrower. He's going to get the corner out. Watch to the right of your screen. He rolls left, throws this off the right foot and puts it right on the money. Good looking catch, a nice extension on the part of Woods, but Nealon Green is the man that made that happen, rolling to his left and putting the ball right on the money.
22 yards later, Woods has a first down at the 44-yard line. He's the second leading receiver for Clemson this year. Priester and room up the middle. Greg Hill combining with Charles Smith and Alan Stansberry on the tackle.
Catching the LSU defense on its heels. Certainly third long, you would have thought that LSU could have forced him to punt. Instead, with the big passing play, starts to open things up a little bit. The initial emotion that LSU had on those first two stops now has waned a little bit.
Raymond Priester, the only Clemson back ever to gain 1,000 yards twice. He comes into tonight's game needing 56 yards to become their all-time rushing leader. Carried twice for a total of 6 so far. In midfield on 2nd and 4, short drop, and breaking off the pattern that time was Kenya Crooks.
Miscommunication. Evidently he thought that because they were in a press, meaning for the uninitiated, when the corner is up in his face, he thought that Crooks was going to go on the up. Instead he went with the slant. Green forced just to throw it away.
Nealon Green, we mentioned, the third ranked passer in the ACC. 80% of his completions go to the wide receivers, so they go up top. They don't just chip away at you. As the 22-yarder to Joe Woods demonstrated. Offset eye. On 3rd and 4, and Green can run it too, but he won't get the first. He is dragged down about a yard shy of the marker by Theo Williams.
Green is not what you call a classic drop-back passer. Take a look at how quickly he touched the ball underneath. He had some openings, but right there he says, I'm not going to get sacked. I'm going to go for it and see if I can get it. And just a little bit short tackle on the play made by Theo Williams.
Green in conference as Kevin Laird, sophomore out of Brandon, Mississippi. Very accurate in killing his kicks inside the 20, and he's got Kevin Falk, the 4th leading punt returner in the nation, nearly 16 yards per return, waiting at the 10. And Falk with a fair catch at the 15. So that one inside the 20 goes 32 yards. LSU led the SEC in rushing, 3rd overall, 400 yards per game. Tyler, the trigger man, and Falk, first team all-purpose All-America. David LaFleur, an enormous tight end, 6'7", 278, and the leading receiver, 30 catches, 3 for scores. Up front, Alan Faneca, sophomore from Rosenberg, Texas, All-SEC and second team All-America. They say has had several games this year where the coaches literally could not find an error in their film study of his work. Falk with the pitch, dragged down for a loss by Adrian Dingle. Clemson's defense 5th in the Atlantic Coast Conference this year. Trevor Price, a transfer from Michigan, they say as talented a defensive lineman as they've ever had. That includes Michael Dean Perry and Chester McLaughlin. Howard Bartley, a steadying influence. He didn't play at all the last 2 years, a redshirt, then a knee. Great sophomore season. Dexter McLeon, outgoing senior, second team all-conference. Quarterback, the 93 Peach Bowl for Clemson. Yardage to the 14 by Falk, where he's hit by Mon Wilson.
Well, now evidently it's going to be Herb Tyler's turn to come up 3rd long and see if he can duplicate what Green did. Big tackle for a loss, set them back. Falk able to get it back now with 3rd and 10. It's up to Tyler to see if he can get the first down with a great throw.
And Tyler Light Green, the 3rd-ranked passer in his conference. 13-2 as a starter. Took over for the injured Jamie Howard last year. Well protected. Swing it to Falk out of the backfield. But Kevin Falk may not have reached the line of scrimmage. Driven out by DeMarco Fox for Clemson.
Well, Dave, certainly you want to get the ball into the hands of your star, but you can't be predictable. Tyler doesn't even look downfield. This is a pre-planned play. Clemson, needless to say, is not fooled. They're able to get Falk out of bounds, and now something that I had privately questioned, they're punting at midfield. Now turns out to be a good decision because Clemson is going to end up with excellent field position.
Chad Kessler at his goal line. Clemson coming pretty hard, and a rather short kick, sideways bounce, great field position at the LSU 46-yard line, just a 33-yard kick for Chad Kessler. 10.5 to play in a scoreless first.
My, it's bright out there, which means we've landed at Delta's Frankfurt terminal, one of the brightest terminals in the world. When I say bright, I don't mean lighting, I mean the Delta Redcoats.
This way on the left-hand side. Nach links komt zum GTD 1.
Excuse me, currency exchange?
Excuse me, where's the bathroom, please?
See the little man on that door over there?
These Delta Redcoats know everything. Excuse me, low-fat Wiener Schnitzel?
Third restaurant down the hall.
Is it brilliant in here or what?
Another ride, another June, another sunny afternoon, another season, another reason for making whoopee. Cruising along the highway, feeling a smile begin. Maybe you had it better, but you don't know where or when. You got the life that you deserve. You took the prize, now take that curve. 'Cause here you are now. You got the car now for making whoopee.
The brand new DeVille for the time of your life.
Making whoopee.
ESPN's presentation of the Peach Bowl is brought to you by Delta Airlines, proud sponsor of the 1996 Peach Bowl, the first U.S. airline to fly completely smoke-free on every flight worldwide. You'll love the way we fly. And by Cadillac DeVille, for the time of your life.
Todd Clemson's decision on their first drive to punt works out because they're right where they were when they punted to LSU, and they've got now a 1st and 10 from the LSU Tiger 47-yard line. Kessler's short punt helping out. Dean again with Smith and Priester behind him in the eye. And runs the option pitch to Priester, cuts it back for about 3 or 4. And the first man with contact, Theo Williams. He's joined by Pat Rogers.
Pat Rogers is in position to make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. Just overran it a little bit. Williams showing good pursuit coming in to make the play, but Rogers was right there. A little bit of a move by Priester, put him on his backside, able to get a little yardage out of him.
Seniors from Shreveport. This is a pretty young defense that Tommy West's offense is going against. They start a true freshman up front in Williams, a redshirt freshman, the middle backer Smith. Wiley, a junior right there. True freshman free safety in Roman. Green to the air, has it batted down. Looked like intended for Brian Wofford. And it will be 3rd and 6. Mike Sutton appeared to get a hand on it.
One of the disadvantages of a quarterback who's a little bit shorter, you can see right here, trying to get over the top and not able to do it. In that case, it's number 38, Monty Gatlin. Another freshman, as you pointed out, a youngster, gets his hands up and bats it down.
Gatlin with the deflection out of Magnolia, Mississippi. First-year man, both wide receivers left. Green rolling that way and delivers incomplete, intended for Woods, who had good coverage that time by Greg Hill.
Was good coverage, and of course it's the same route that they got the first down on earlier in the game. This time Hill is waiting on it. Good technique there, knowing that once he takes the outside release, he's going to the corner. Hill with him stride for stride.
4th leading tackler, starter since game 2. Greg Hill forcing another Kevin Laird punt, and again, just as last time, Falk waiting at his 10-yard line.
Dave, last time it was an automatic fair catch. If this is a shorter, if this is a low punt, Falk might want to think about returning.
Helps skies this one. And again, Falk waving for the fair catch, has to make it on the run at the 21-yard line.
Having been down there on the field, I got to tell you, he's going to get the penalty for people being a little bit too close, but that's a tough catch. The lights are right in your eyes, and that ball was way up there. Falk showed a lot of courage hustling up and making that catch. Good athletic play, and of course, he's going to get a little additional yardage as a result of people being in his way.
Steve Juszczyk is the referee.
Kick catch, interference on a kicking team, 5-yard penalty, first down. Well, of course, the rule is that you have to give him 2 yards. You can see Tommy West has no beef with it. A lot of times you're running downfield. You don't know where it is. You can't get out of the way. Trying to do it in this case is number 65. That's Elmer Bench, who just did not get out of the way in time. But Falk, as I say, you know what? That just isn't an easy catch. You just can't take that for granted. He made a nice play.
It was just a 22-yard kick, and now a net of 17 with the mark off to the 26. Motion from Tyrone Frazier. Two tight end look, and Falk cutting off right tackle, breaks a tackle and stretches near the 30. Where Adrian Dingle was there, the sophomore outside backer from Holly Hill, South Carolina.
It's interesting sometimes when you look at Falk, you say to yourself, is this the kind of guy that can carry 25, 30 times a game? Just to give you a comparison, you look at the Oakland Raiders, they have Napoleon Kaufman, somebody who's 5'9", 180, and they say, well, we're not sure he can take the beating. Now you have a guy who's a similar physique, and look at the numbers that he's put up. Not only does he carry 20, 25 times a game, but he returns punts and kickoffs. I think a lot of times the size factor is severely overrated.
12th first-team All-America in LSU history, Kevin Falk. Give again, heads right. This time hit immediately by Anthony Simmons.
That's the young man who I believe is more than likely going to be the front runner for the Butkus Award next year. We documented the numbers that he put up, just absolutely astounding numbers. Has a great nose for the ball that can go sideline to sideline. He came in at about 205 pounds. Now he's building himself up to 220. Tommy West says that he is arguably the best tackler he's ever seen. He's somebody that when he gets his hands on you, you do go down.
Puts him in the same neighborhood as a Marvin Jones type. Led the ACC in stops this year. Tyler from the shotgun on 3rd and 7. And this one for Larry Foster at the 33-yard line is going to be about 4 yards short of the first down marker.
Sometimes a receiver has to make a decision, Dave, and that decision is, do I make the catch and go for a run, or do I fall down and make sure of the catch? In this case, Foster is just not quite deep enough. He runs the swirl route, comes back to the outside. Now he makes sure of the catch. Instead of keeping his feet and turning around, he wants to make sure of the catch. I understand that motivation. I've been there. But if you're not where you're supposed to be, where the sticks are concerned, it's going to hurt your offense. In this case, Foster, a couple of yards short.
Kessler again to kick. Leon again deep. Much better effort. Leon with a fair catch at his 25. 40-yarder by Kessler, and with 7 minutes, 17 seconds to go in the first quarter at the Georgia Dome, a scoreless Peach Bowl.
If the sky that we look upon should tumble and fall, or the mountain should crumble to the sea, I won't cry, I won't cry, no, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand.
Peace of mind from Buick LeSabre.
When fix-it problems hit you from out of the blue, trust the folks in the Red Vest. They've got shelves full of products and loads of ideas to fix any fix you're in. Because Ace is a place for the helpful hardware folks.
More and more travelers are finding savings out of the blue. An alliance between Western Pacific Airlines and Thrifty Car Rental brings more of what travelers want above all: low rates. Proving that Thrifty and Western Pacific are birds of a feather. For car rental reservations, call your professional travel agent or 1-800-4CARS. It's reliable and easy, and best of all, it's thrifty.
Clean is my business. So when I'm on the road, Super 8's my motel. Clean carpets, clean seats, clean. Clean inside and out. Life's great at Super 8.
The 29th Peach Bowl from Atlanta, Georgia. Enshrouded in fog much of the week. Waiting for the clearing inside the Georgia Dome. 0-0 Clemson and LSU, and the Clemson Tigers taking over from their 26-yard line. It's actually a little, for an indoor facility, a little on the sticky side, so the fans actually come in handy on those benches.
Yeah, I noticed that Dave Robinson broke a sweat when he was kicking earlier. That's understandable. It is warm.
The hardest working spotter in the business always breaks a sweat. Kelton Dunnican on for a series in the backfield and fullback. Priester swallowed up for no gain. Chuck Weiland right behind Stansberry with 93 stops and tied for first with 6 sacks this year.
Well, easy to make tackles like that when you go in unblocked.
Both these teams more respected offensively than defensively, but boy, the defenses have dominated so far, no question.
I'm surprised, too. I would have thought that we'd have had 2 or 3 big runs by now. The biggest play we've had was the corner route earlier in the game.
That was by Joe Woods. He's slot left. Outside of him is Brian Wofford.
Some good big things are going to happen. I can feel it. The orange pants are on, doggone it.
Green with all day. Wofford can't hang on. Broken up by Denard Walker.
That's a great play by Walker. Let me tell you why. You might not think so, but remember, the receiver's got his body between Walker and the ball, and inevitably, sometimes when you do this, they're going to call interference. He's got the short post route. Take a look from behind. Just gets his hands up, gets a piece of the ball without getting the body until the last minute. He hits the ball first, then the body. Check it out. Pow, there it is. Well, that's a good-looking play by Walker.
Who led LSU with 11 passes broken up this year.
And Dave, I've documented this ad nauseum. Without a doubt, the most difficult position to play now in both college and professional football is cornerback.
Shotgun for Green on 3rd and 10. 3 wide, blitz comes. Quick route by Wofford. Gets a block, turns it up. Does not have the first. He's a yard shy at the 35-yard line where Greg Hill drags him down.
Well, he got a block, but that was a big-time clip. You'll get a chance to take a look at it. They caught him in a blitz. This is what they wanted. Watch here at the bottom of your screen. He's going to come in. Now watch coming from here. Going to be number 77. There it is. That's a clip right there. Gets away with it. Cuts back. Good open field tackle on the part of Greg Hill to keep him just short of the first down.
Matt Butler, 77, delivering that block for Clemson. Laird hoping to finally air one out. He has Falk waiting at the 25 this time. Elected not to put any pressure on him, and by far his best hit. Nose down spiral. Here's Falk. Right up the middle, near midfield.
Dave, let me tell you what happened here. Clemson, because they were so concerned last time because they got in the way of Falk, they actually had a pretty good release by their cover people, but they slowed down. And as a result of slowing down, it took their aggressiveness away. They hold up a little bit. Look at all the area that Falk has to run with. He shows his All-American status, setting up good field position for the Tigers.
D-Day. Your ships are halfway to Normandy when a storm in the North Atlantic slams your window of opportunity shut. Do you turn back? You make the call in Battlefield. The explosive new series from Time Life Video that keeps you on the edge of your seat with complete play-by-play action of the most brutal battles of World War II. Begin with Normandy, Prelude to Battle for just $9.99. You'll size up the players, zero in on the weapons, see the brilliant moves, the stunning blunders, all in the most comprehensive look at the make-or-break battles of World War II ever created. But right now, it's all up to you. Normandy, Prelude to Battle can be yours for just $9.99. There's no risk, no commitment, and satisfaction is guaranteed. So what do you do now? Get in the action.
Call now.
To order Normandy Prelude to Battle, call 1-800-942-4774 or send $9.99 plus $3.49 shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
29-yard punt return by Falk as LSU set up at the 49-yard line. Let's go down to Pam Ward on the field with some special guests.
That's right, Dave. We have actually a pretty important announcement about to come. Mr. Albert Tweaky here, the chairman of the Peach Bowl, with the announcement.
Well, Pam, the Peach Bowl is proud to announce that we have signed a title sponsor for the Peach Bowl, Chick-fil-A. It's an Atlanta-based, fast-growing company and the originator of the chicken sandwich.
And over here, Jimmy Collins, the president of Chick-fil-A. What's your thoughts on this big new deal?
Well, Chick-fil-A is delighted to sponsor the Peach Bowl. It's an opportunity for us to support one of the great events of college football. Also, it's an opportunity for us to invite the fans to eat more chicken. Eat more chicken at Chick-fil-A restaurants, of course.
Of course. And Steve Robinson, Senior Vice President of Marketing of Chick-fil-A. Tell us about the decision.
Pam, we just wanted to let more people know about Chick-fil-A. First of all, Atlanta's home to us, but about 70% of our stores are in the states of these two conferences. So it's a great fit, and we think Chick-fil-A is too much of a secret nationwide. So we think the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and ESPN will help us fix that.
Okay, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So chicken for everybody tonight, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. All right. Thanks. Back to you, Dave.
Well, great. Now I'm hungry.
I was going to say I could go for a little breast of chicken right about now.
Vicky Savoy, 11 in motion. Rondell Mealy is in his tailback. Tyler fakes to him. Completed to David LaFleur, who at 6'7" can bring those down with the best of them.
You made a very good point, Dave. 6'7". What a great target for his quarterback.
ESPN proud to present ESPN News, television's most comprehensive sports news service. Get all the latest scores, highlights, and analysis 24 hours a day. If you don't have ESPN News, call your cable operator, satellite provider, or Pam Ward at home and tell them you want to ring in the new year with ESPN
Exactly
News.
right. Well, we figured if they can promote Chick-fil-A, we can certainly promote Pam Ward.
36-yard line, 1st and 10. First serious drive by either team. Neely, the backup for Falk, with some impressive numbers. Good for about 9 yards before he's run down by Antoine Edwards, the strong safety.
Well, Neely put some yards together in the absence of Falk when he had injuries during this season. Kind of a difficult situation when you have to back up Falk, but he has certainly proven himself to be an effective runner. Good charge. Ooh, look at that cavern of a hole he's able to cut through. Good quickness by Mealy, getting in the hole and getting some extra yards.
Debuted with 161 yards in his first college game against Houston and a game-winning touchdown in a stirring LSU comeback. 35-34 in the opener this year in Baton Rouge, and a marker before the ball could be snapped.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Got to frustrate Jerry DiNardo. He's got a good thing going here. Nice pass to LaFleur. Mealy pulls off a big chunk, and he has a penalty set him back.
Back at the 32, where it's 2nd and 7. Frazier going right. Foster comes bottom of your picture left.
Throw the tight end again. I like that.
Hard to miss him. He's left side, and in motion goes Kendall Cleveland with offset eye. Good to Mealy. To the 29, ran through an arm tackle and finally driven down by Anthony Simmons, who as a sophomore, Todd, has already made All-American twice.
Well, it's understandable because of the numbers. Take a look right here. Watch this tight end and watch the block that he puts on. In a press situation, watch at the end of the play. You're going to see Simmons make the tackle, but look at the man that's over LaFleur. Not even in the picture over here off the left. At 6'7", 278 pounds, not only can he make the catches, but he can drive people off the ball. This guy is a legitimate, I'm saying legitimate pro prospect.
High first rounder, a lot of people think. Well, Tyler was not going to get the snap off in time and has to burn his first timeout.
He made the right decision, though. Got down to 1 second. He's never going to get it off. 3rd and 3. Depending upon the confidence that they have in Boyd, their field goal kicker, this could be 4-down territory.
3:33 to go, and a 3rd and 3 coming up in a 0-0 first quarter.
Hold it. This isn't you, it's an older guy.
Oh, that was before I got rid of my gray hair with Just for Men hair color.
Come on, that's too natural to be hair coloring.
Just for Men. Apply and in 5 minutes rinse. Gray is blended away for a totally natural look.
Think it'll work for me?
In 5 minutes.
Just for Men looks too natural to be hair coloring. And now try Just for Men Color Gel for the hard-to-color hair of mustaches and beards. Brush in, rinse out. Just 5 minutes.
And if I see fear in a man's eyes, I will say no. I scream no. Because truth is what brings us here today. For a man will live and die to take hold of his dreams, for the strength to pass by those gates of fear.
I'll see man at his best and children at their brightest. I'll feel the power and the glory of a great story on a super flat system screen that adds dimension. A dome sound system that surrounds me, and I'll direct it all from the palm of my hand.
The new super flat system TV from Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
LSU studying a 3rd and 3. We remind you to spend your New Year's Day with ABC Sports at 1 o'clock Eastern. 9th-ranked Tennessee, led by Peyton Manning, heads to Orlando to tame the Wildcats of Northwestern in the CompUSA Florida Citrus Bowl. The 11th-ranked Wildcats, led by running back Darnell Autry, All-American linebacker Pat Fitzgerald. That's New Year's Day at 1 only on ABC. Motion from Foster. Tyler with the option. Keats is buried at the 31.
Remember, Dingle was the man that made the big play on fault earlier in the game. In fact, the very first series, trying to run the option short side, catch them off guard. But that time, LaFleur is not able to put the block on Dingle. He tries to hook him, and in hooking him, he lets him get underneath. Dingle, the man that makes the play and drops Tyler for a loss.
So Wade Ritchie, only 5 for 12 this year, but had a long of 54 yards on to attempt a 48-yarder, and he sails that one wide right.
Dave, I saw him in the warm-up kicking the ball 60 yards, plenty of distance. Take a look. This is actually going to end up from the screen. Just misses left.
Almost went right over the top of the upright.
And of course, the flip side of this now is that Clemson is going to get the ball at the 31-yard line instead of the 20.
Wade Ritchie has really struggled in his LSU career. Former high school All-America. One point this year, DiNardo studied the possibility of replacing him hard, but it's Ritchie's job in the Peach Bowl. And this is on a 48-yarder. Clemson taking over from their 31. Green with a play fake. Incomplete, intended for the tight end Lamont Hall. They don't throw to the tight end very often. That might have been Lamont Hall's chance tonight. 7 catches all year.
Well, one of the things, too, is that when you don't get the ball thrown to you a lot, you're a little bit unsure of yourself out in the flat. It looked to me like he could have extended both hands to make the catch, opted for the one-hander and couldn't come up with it.
Last time, a Clemson tight end caught a touchdown pass. Danny Ford was the coach.
Benny Cunningham?
Not quite that long ago.
All right.
They recruited him to block. Second and 10. Green with a quick option pitch. Priester cuts right into the tackle at the 27-yard line of Pat Rogers.
Linebacking cores have some people that can run. Everybody accentuates the idea that you need some people that can run, and this is the reason. You're going to go wide with the option. You've got to be a little bit quicker than the people on the outside, and needless to say, on both sides of the ball, both LSU and Clemson, the linebacking has been outstanding when both quarterbacks have opted for the option.
Clemson 199 rushing yards per game, which led the ACC 12 tonight. LSU, which led the SEC in rushing, 13 on the ground. So shotgun and 4 wideouts for Nealon Green over the middle. incomplete, dropped by Joe Woods, and they'll have to kick.
You can see him pointing to his chest saying, "My bad." And one of the frustrations if you're the quarterback is you put it right where it was supposed to be, and he didn't come up with it. Maybe a little bit of what they make reference to as alligator arms. He's going over the middle. He's not a big man, needless to say. Only 160 pounds. A little bit concerned with getting whacked as he keeps pointing to his chest, emphasizing "my bad." The punting team has to come on the field.
Kevin Laird again. Last kick went 45 yards, by far his best, but by far Falk's best return. He came back 29. They almost got him this time. With a high effort, Falk passes up the fair catch because he can do this. So the Clemson 48 caught. How many punt returners would have fair caught that ball? Most of them, I think. He brings another one back 29.
But I got to tell you, Dave, Kevin Falk is a fine returner, but I got to tell you, he got some terrific blocks. They're doing an outstanding job of creating some lanes for him. Good blocking downfield by the Tigers.
Coming back, though.
Well, it's only going to
the personal foul against LSU.
Take a look at the gap that he gets just at the bottom of the screen. Now, once he makes the first man miss, look at the people he has to avoid. Right there, the 30. Where's the next orange shirt? Not until the 45-yard line. That's just great blocking on the part of LSU. 15 yards completely unencumbered. Take a look up here. Look at the blocking ahead of him. Watch this. You can see, look at how people are boxed in. These are the fast people. But the personal foul is going to remove 15 yards from that, and the field position, which was on the other side of midfield, now is going to be the 37. Good looking average right there. No wonder he averaged 15.6. But again, let's give some credit to the special teams of LSU making the blocks for him.
Well-coached group. So DiNardo's Tigers start from their 37.
You can read his lips. DiNardo was saying which player, and Trevor Price.
Ball is loose. Recovered by Clemson at the 10.
Dave, at the top of the show, you mentioned the fact that Trevor Price was somebody who was as good as Michael Dean Perry or any of the other defensive linemen that they have had. Coming from the backside, completely untouched. No way Tyler had any chance at all. The ball bounces free. Clemson with the first big play of the game as number 45, Harold Means, picks it up, setting up Clemson in excellent field position at the 10.
Clemson 2 off their school record for sacks this year. True freshman Harold Means with the return to the 10. Priester weaving to the 6. Trevor Price, when he decided to transfer from Michigan, got everybody up and excited because he had been a high school All-America, highly recruited out of Winter Park, Florida. And in fact, so much hype that they worried a little bit about being worthy of that level of expectation, but he hasn't disappointed anybody.
3/4 of the time they get it in the end zone. Difficult situation at first and goal right on the 10. They can't get a first down. The onus now on the Bengal Tiger defense.
Emory Smith, 80 couches out a yard, not much more than that. Runs right into Chuck Wiley. And third down coming.
Great job by the interior of LSU. As I pointed out, the reason I say that is that so many times you get down there and you have first and goal, second and goal. It could be at the 6 or the 7. That gives you some leeway. When you have first and goal at the 10, it makes it that much more difficult. Now the pressure reverts to the Clemson offense. Now 3rd and 5. Whether to run, play action, pass. I think LSU is going to put themselves in a position where they're looking for play action.
Which means they'll look to the left side where Crooks and Woods go wide. It'll be the last play of the first quarter. Green cutting it back. Lots of room. Touchdown.
LSU called it at the beginning of the play. Everybody was to the left, not just the wide receivers, but the tight end. Everybody is stacked left, and if he's able to break contain as he is right here, there are no white shirts on the other side of the field. That made it easy for Green to cut back against the grain and walk in for the 6.
Gary, twice for scores during the regular season, their 4th leading rusher. How many quarterbacks can say that? Extra point by Matt Padgett. 7-0 Clemson.
Defensive end for LSU coming from the left side needs to keep contain on the quarterback. Right there, if he's able to shake free, there's nobody to the other side because all of the defenders are on the one side because you have the 2 wide receivers and the tight end. Tommy West certainly has to like what he sees in his quarterback, Nealon Green.
25,000 Clemson fans on hand here in the Georgia Dome. And Green had the good fortune of scoring in the Clemson end zone. A sea of orange and purple over there.
Of course, what that means now is that the Clemson kicker now has to kick to Kevin Falk. And arguably the best offense that LSU has had in the first quarter has been the returns of number 3.
Without any question. Stuck for words.
No.
Soft-spoken quarterback.
That was good, though. I heard it. He said Dad. He squeezed Dad in there, but always Mom first.
Yeah.
Hey, Dale Murphy had an interesting theory with regards to that he told me. He said the reason that players always wave hi, Mom, is because they know that Dad's love is conditional. If you hit a home run or score a touchdown, they know Dad loves them. But if they just play, they know their mom loves them. That's why Mom's always first.
Really?
Yeah. I thought that was an interesting theory. He's probably right.
Magic drives this one halfway through the end zone where Falk takes a knee. One more snap for LSU before we'll end the first quarter.
But doesn't that make sense?
It actually does. I've never heard that theory, but it makes as much sense as any I've heard. In fact, it's the only theory I've heard.
Well, Dale from here in Atlanta, a neighbor of mine now, always had some insight, well, not Confucius like, Will Rogers like.
A little folksier.
Yep. Yeah.
LSU really hurt by the personal foul penalty that wiped out about half of the last Falk punt return. Dees with the fumble recovery brought it back to the 10, from which they scored. Tyler breaks off a nice one, runs out of bounds after a pickup of about 13 yards on the final play of the first quarter. Green has the only touchdown on the keeper with 4 seconds to play in the quarter, and after one, 7-0 Clemson in the 29th annual Peach Bowl.
It's stop number 962. Hi, Julie. We've been expecting you. I'll let Todd know that you're here, okay? Todd?
Julie.
Hi, Todd.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
The triple? I'm excited. I have your own small my own book. What do you say we go see your car?
Is that my car?
Everybody, this is Julie. And this is her first new car. Just say cheese.
Hey, Mr. B, I'm Denise's friend Ted. Wow, sorry about the truck.
We should go to Midas.
That's a very good idea.
At Midas, we'll find your exhaust problem, explain your options so you'll know what to do. It's the Midas way, a better system for you and your car.
Bayer. Powerful pain relief and so much more.
Okay, now don't get Grandma too excited.
That's right. Your poor dear is probably a bit weak.
She has been running on the same Duracell battery since the Ice Age.
cell batteries sure do last.
The Copper Top. No battery is stronger, longer.
If you want more computer for your money, you gotta call us, the friendly folks at Gateway 2000.
Want me back up? Pick up the phone and give us a call.
Call now. Call now. Call now.
Kind of nervous.
Call now.
Grab the phone. Give us a call. Pick up. Dial. Dial.
Dial. Right now.
Gateway computers feature the Intel Pentium processor. So call 1-800-GATEWAY and ask for our free video. Call us today.
Tommy West and Clemson leading 7-0 over LSU as we begin the second quarter. Dave Barnett, Todd Christensen, Pam Ward from the Georgia Dome. LSU from their 34-yard line, 1st and 10. And Falk breaks a couple of tackles, has the first down, and a couple of more to the 46-yard line. Nice blocking by Nicky Savoy out in front of the tailback, Falk.
He looked like he was the one that was occupying Trevor Price, and Price, it appeared, almost had him for a loss behind the line of scrimmage, but Falk able to break outside and contain, get big yardage near midfield.
Kevin Falk in just 2 years already the 7th leading rusher in LSU history. They've got a pretty proud list of ground gainers throughout their long football heritage. Another 2 years, you can be right at the top. Just as Priester may be by the end of today. Tyler off the roll, delivers complete for Tyrone Frazier. The true freshman from Shreveport. Good for 18. Peter Ford with the tackle.
Peter Ford got hung up a little bit, play action. Take a look as he rolls to his right. He wants to get the ball to his tight end. If Ford stumbles, you can see him just now getting off the ground. Good route by the true freshman as LaFleur comes over to try and help him.
The asterisk that you put by Frazier is he's 21 years old. He played 3 years in minor league baseball in the Royals system.
What position?
No, good question.
Don't give me that look. This wasn't Jeopardy. I was just curious.
Whatever it wasn't his position. Because he's back in football.
He left out.
Falk, and they're ready for him.
One of the difficulties when you run this version of the counter tray is there's a little bit of a delay, and as we've documented thus far, the quickness of the Clemson defense often will negate that. When you have the misdirection, you follow the guards across, and in this case, Clemson able to snuff it.
There is no answer, by the way.
You were looking at me. I was wondering why there was a pregnant pause. Probably an outfielder.
Just flipping through a couple of pages. Trevor Price trying to catch his breath. Second down, and Tyler hangs this one deep. Wide open is Savoy. Converted quarterback has 1st and goal. LSU at the 7.
Well, Andy Ford came up to take him in what's called a press going man for man. At 5'11", 180 pounds, frankly, he just isn't a match right here for a man who's 6'6", 240. He has the short corner route, nice catch, runs through Ford for a little bit of additional yardage. This is something that LSU needs to accentuate, is throwing to the tight ends. As you mentioned, their tight ends only have caught 7 yards in the entire year. They're not used to defending tight ends in practice. This is something that LSU can take advantage of.
Savoy almost as big a target as before. He goes 6'6", 239. Lone setback, Falk straight up the middle, and Powers to the 3. We're in the 2nd and goal.
You know what impresses me about these two tight ends is inevitably you've got tight ends that are one-dimensional. You see Savoy right there. You've got a guy who's either a great pass catcher a la Shannon Sharp, Pete Jackson, or you've got a third tackle. In this case, both of these young men have proven that they can do both, catch the ball and block. And I don't know who the two guys are ahead of him offhand, but they better be stud holes. But I like this LaFleur.
And yet another tight end checked in, 87 for Nell Hampton. Pitch it for Falk, straight off right tackle, has an LSU touchdown.
That's an indication of power football right there, where you pitch inside and say, We're running behind our stud bolt tight end and tackle. See if you can stop us. Take a look at the power right here. Look at the white shirts, move the red shirts off. I'm running off tackle. See if you can stop me. I guess you can. Excellent drive by the LSU Tigers.
Huge block by Robert Tyler to clear the way from Falk. The extra point to come from Ritchie. He struggled with field goals, but only missed one of 43 PATs this year and drives this one right through for a 7-7 tie. Clemson scores on the final drive of the first quarter. LSU right back to open the second, 7-7.
To end Chrysler's best year ever, our best year-end sale ever. Right now, you can lease Chrysler Cirrus for $0 down, $269 a month, and only $544 due at signing. Chrysler LHS is just $359 a month. And Chrysler Concorde is yours for $0 down, $309 a month, and only $634 due at signing. Our best year-end sale ever, for a limited time only, at your Chrysler dealer. What's new in your world?
Mars attacks. I want the people to know they still have 2 out of 3 branches of the government working for them, and that ain't bad.
See the biggest cast on the planet. Mars Attacks. Rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you.
It's country driving. It's fancy coat and tie. Ooh, it's the football team. Your beauty queen. It's why we're right nearby.
Call today. For just $18.95 a day, you can rent a Dodge Neon or similar compact car from Thrifty.
Best of all, it's Thrifty. Coming through like you knew we would.
Behold, a technological breakthrough. Prestone Windshield De-Icer Washer Fluid. Unlike many blue washers, Prestone guarantees it won't freeze in your reservoir. Prestone De-Icer Washer Fluid. Wipe out ice in your lifetime.
ESPN's presentation of the Peach Bowl is brought to you by Chrysler and the Chrysler Sebring Coupe. What's new in your world? And by Thrifty Car Rental. Great cars in over 50 countries around the world. Best of all, it's Thrifty.
Kevin Falk's 14th touchdown run of the year ties it at 7-7 for LSU.
But let's give some credit to that young man right there. That's Tyler, 2 for 2, 50 yards, a run of 14 yards. You know, Falk gets a lot of the attention, but let's not forget that kid as a starter is 13-2. It's not as if they're doing it without him. He's playing some good football.
And he's perfect through the air, 5 of 5. Another touchback. Another Clemson drive to start from their 20. Yeah, Herb Tyler, 69 yards through the air, 5 out of 5. Mixed it up very nicely on that drive. Highlights from the first quarter.
Well, of course, Kevin Falk steps up to pick off the linebacker. Price comes from behind, beats his man. The ball comes loose. This sets up the touchdown for Clemson. Nealon Green here with a 6-yard run. Breaks contain, comes back against the right. Goes in standing up for the initial score of the game.
Price and Harold Means combining for the turnover, but LSU with the equalizer on the Falk score. Screen set up for Emery Smith, and Emery rambled for a few to the 27-yard line. Not bad work.
And he got a lot more out of that than he should have. The timing on that was screwed up a little bit because the defensive end for LSU, number 90, Mike Sutton, is able to get in the way of it. But he's able to break through 2 tackles and get a 7-yard gain where really there was nothing to get.
Emery about 3 inches taller and about 30 pounds heavier than Emmett.
But you can see in the face, you see the resemblance, don't you?
Oh, yeah. No question. He was number 22 before he enrolled at Clemson. That number was taken, so he's been 18 throughout his career. His dream is to naturally block in the same backfield with Emmett at some point as a pro. Priester, first down to the 32.
Now Clemson's starting to make some adjustments. They've been running primarily strong side in the first quarter. This time they go weak side against the short side of the field. The run support for LSU not as good. Priester able to pick up some yardage.
Total yardage, look at the balance for Clemson. LSU got double through the air what they've had on the ground. Those are both surprising numbers.
I guess it just goes to show that a Tiger can change its...
Goes to show. Yeah. Jared Donato was right. It may well be the team that throws it the best that wins.
the sucker play. A little bit of a trap. Center goes away. Guard comes across. Able to get a good block for Emery Smith. He goes right up the middle. And it's interesting. It's interesting how these teams respond to adversity. Big turnover. Clemson scores. LSU drives 80 yards. Now LSU ties the score. You think the momentum's on their side. Clemson says,
Emery Smith, the offensive player of the game for Clemson in the '93 Peach Bowl, the first game ever coached for the Tigers by Tommy West. If they stay with the hot back, good for about 8 to the LSU 44.
Well, at this rate, he might have another shot at being a most valuable player. The interior for LSU is getting beaten up by the offensive line of Clemson. And that young man, the 240-pounder, Emery Smith.
Didn't finish up this year the way he had hoped based on a 712-yard junior year, just 284 yards this year, 4 yards per carry. But I would think the scouts and the people who do the drafting have to consider bloodlines at some point in their decision making. Priester dragged down as Pat Rogers hangs on for dear life. Thrifty Car Rental Bowl Week continues tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern with the Builders Square Alamo Bowl from San Antonio. Tim Dwight and Tavian Banks leading the Iowa Charge against the nation's second leading rusher, Byron Hanspar. And the Texas Tech Red Raiders from the Alamo Dome tomorrow at 8 Eastern.
Were you surprised that Hanspar didn't get more votes for the Heisman? I was.
Really was.
Yeah.
First team All-America, 2,000 plus. Not among the top 5 vote getters. Very surprising.
Big 12 competition to boot.
Green with a quarterback draw will lose as alertly staying at home to bring him down was Theo Williams.
Well, initially there's supposed to be a screen. Green doesn't like what he sees, so he pulls it down, jukes one man, but as you pointed out, Williams, excellent open field tackle.
One of the cliches, you try to avoid it, but in his case, it looks to be true. He's a true freshman, but at this time of the year, coaches say there really are no true freshmen. He played a whole college season.
Well, we're broadcasters. We can do cliches. What are you talking about? I mean, their backs are against the wall. When the going gets tough, take it to another level, focus. We'll bring them all out.
Nice string right there. Maybe one, if that, to the 40. Priester trying to follow the block of Kelton Dunnigan, but again, there was Williams fighting him off.
That's the play they had earlier in the drive for a first down against the short side of the field, but this time LSU is prepared. Good run support. Now 3rd and 15. Interesting to see what the call will be here and whether or not they have a long-range field goal kicker. Here's a situation, Dave, where I'm looking at a hook pattern at about 9-10 yards. Get it down to maybe the 30 where you've got a shot at a field goal. Your chances of getting 15 here aren't real good.
Now Lawyer in the game, bottom of formation, wide left. Woods inside of him, Green looking that way. Still scrambling. Lets it go for no one. And a late flag comes down.
He's looking downfield. The official wanted to see if he saw anybody close. Now he's going to confer with the other officials and see if there was an orange shirt, and he might pick this up. This is initially intentional grounding, and this is what they're discussing. Was there somebody in the play? And that's what Tommy West is having a beef with, too. I guess he's not going to pick it up, is he?
Intentional grounding on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
Arnold Miller, 98, is the man giving chase to Green, who forces the grounding penalty.
This is difficult here because I think everybody knows he's throwing the ball away. That's clear. But when you're going to play the role of Kreskin, you better be able to see the whole field. And there is nobody. Good call. Got to give him credit. That's a pretty good call. Number 32 for Clemson is Kelton Dunnigan, but really he's not in the vicinity of the ball. The official does a good job of taking his time, looking downfield, conferring with people, and making a decision. Normally, I'm not big on the huddles of officials, but in that case, I like it, and he made the right call.
So on for another punt is Laird, and Falk, who's already broken a couple of better than 25 yards, rates it as 18. LSU not going after the punter. They race back to try and set up a return wall, but Falk this time has to have the fair catch. 38-yard kick by Laird. With 8:36 to go in the second quarter of the Peach Bowl, tied at 7.
Now, let me get this straight. What you're saying is all those Delta Sky miles I'm accumulating
Will never expire. Just fly with us once every 3 years.
So 10 years from now, you're still good. Half a century passes.
Still good.
Oh, I'm 104 and I need a vacation.
Have you flown with us once every 3 years?
Absolutely.
Hawaii's nice.
Come on, Scott, give me a fry.
America's favorite fries. McDonald's. Go get them.
Please.
Get your own, man.
The Chrysler Cirrus LXI. Cab forward design. Driver adaptive transmission. Speed sensitive steering. Fatigue reducing driver's seat. Car and driver's 10 best. Now get $1,000 cash back. Or get a lease with 0 down, $269 a month, and $544 due at signing. The Chrysler Cirrus. What's new in your world?
If your tools are looking a little more rusty than trusty, turn to the folks in the Red Vest. They've got a wide variety, including Ace brand hand tools, built tough with a lifetime warranty. That's what makes Ace the place, with a helpful hardware folks.
LSU takes it from their 16. Let's check in down on the field with Pam Ward.
Thanks, Dave. And Tommy West's first head coaching game with Clemson came in the 1993 Peach Bowl right here in the Georgia Dome. Time running out. Patrick Sapp, the quarterback, buying time and finding Terry Smith in the end zone. Clemson comes from behind, and they beat Kentucky. A great way to start for Tommy West, Dave.
And the last hurrah quarterback for Patrick Sapp, who has gone on to an NFL linebacking career. High formation, Robert Tyler in front of Kevin Falk, who may get a couple of feet at most out of that one. Immediate contact by Brett Williams and Anthony Simmons. Clemson has played in 2 previous Peach Bowls at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in 1979, a 6-point loss to Baylor, and then a 1-point victory over Kentucky in 93. The only previous meeting they've ever had with LSU, the 1959 Sugar Bowl, it followed LSU's unbeaten 58 season. Back then, the Bulls did not figure into national championship balloting because that was all completed at the end of the regular season. So LSU was already national champ, plus they won that game and completed a perfect 1958 campaign, 7-0. 1958, if you're an LSU fan, you think of one man, and it's Billy Cannon, who was able to cement that national title with a huge punt return on Halloween night.
Cannon on the run to the right. He pegs a perfectly timed pass to Mangum in the end zone. It's a touchdown for the Tigers.
At old Tulane Stadium, that was the only score of that Peach Bowl, of that Sugar Bowl.
Billy Cannon, number 33 for the Oakland Raiders. I remember him when he went there as a running back, converted to tight end. One of the first really good pass-catching tight ends in the early 60s.
I like those guys who convert from running back to tight end for the Raiders.
That's a lovely segue, and certainly one that wasn't forced on my part, huh?
You can ring in the new year, maybe with those gentlemen, with NASCAR all day on New Year's Day. ESPN2 brings you the NASCAR Marathon. Relive the best in racing excitement from last year's NASCAR season. Catch all the short track and speedway excitement starting at midnight on New Year's Eve, only on the Deuce. Second down and 2. LSU down only one more timeout. They need 10 here. Midway in the second quarter. Motion from Frazier. It goes to Falk, who runs out of room immediately. Adrian Dingle forces him out, and a late flag flies.
Well, you know, once again, the official takes a look and wants to see how far out of bounds it is. It appeared to me that Simmons did hit him a little bit late, but he wanted to take a look and be sure of his momentum. Watch here at the end of the play and watch where Falk gets hit. A lot of times momentum carries you right on the line. Now, where does he hit him? Oh, he's out of bounds by a good 2 yards.
Personal foul.
It's a good call.
Defense.
See, right there. Well out of bounds, and Simmons pushes him. It isn't a flagrant situation. It's just where Simmons needs to be cognizant of where he is on the field.
Falk actually takes more of a hit from the photographers that he runs into.
But again, the official needs to make that call, and you can see right there Tommy West has no beef with him.
So it looks like Dingle and Simmons combined for a nice defensive play, and it doesn't work out that way after all. LSU with the mark off from the 31 now, 1st and 10. Frazier wide left, walks to right, fake to Falk, throw it back the other way to LaFleur. Sam Waugh throws the block, and LaFleur reaches midfield.
How much fun must that be? You're the strong safety or free safety. You're 5'11", you're 180, and all of a sudden, this guy catches the ball. Oh, my gosh. Just throws them out of the way. Misdirection is what takes the people out of the way. And number 47, look at this sight. No, please, help! If you're 5'11", 175, look at that, 278. Moves very well for 278. In fact, I was informed that he ran 4.7 in the 40. Hence his number. Yeah, that's it.
Got to believe that based on what we've seen tonight. Great drop. Hangs this one deep for Frazier in single coverage. That's going to draw a flag on McLeon. He doesn't even bother to argue. And when was the last time you saw a DB not argue a pass interference?
And unfortunately for McLeon, this ball this absolutely drew rain. Well, of course, it would have if we were outdoors. The ball is way up. Now he turn and look. Turn and look, but don't put your hand in like that. Turn and look, and if he does, he might even get an interception, let alone bat the ball away. But the ball had such a high trajectory, he kept anticipating that it was going to come down. It did not. As a result, there's the interference. It's amazing, Dave. I mentioned it over and over again, the fact that quarterbacks have such a difficult job. But one of the things you just have to do is look back. And if you look back, you can get away with a lot of incidental contact. If you don't look at all, they're going to throw the flag.
McLeon, probably their best cover guy. Second team all-conference. They think maybe a second-round, potentially NFL pick. Kevin Falk weaving up the side. They'll mark Kevin Falk out at the 21-yard line. 14 yards. Another LSU first down.
Blocking on the short side once again is outstanding. Puts him in a good situation. Makes the guy commit. And once again, look at all the orange shirts that are not there in the first 8 yards of Falk's running. That's great blocking by the front line of LSU, particularly at the tight end position. That young man again, LaFleur.
Got a pretty decided weight advantage up there. 291, 293. 271 at the center spot, McClure. Then 310 Faneca. Best of the bunch. And 293 Bordelon is not far behind it. Two tight ends. Mealy gets to give. And to the 17-yard line. In the Georgia Dome, the 29th Peach Bowl, matching for the 5th year in a row the ACC versus the SEC. Dave Barnett, Todd Christensen, Pam Ward, 7-7 game as we get midway second quarter. This game for 4 years in a row has been won by the ACC representative by a total margin in those 4 games of 16 points. And this one following right in that tradition so far. Second down and 6. Still 2 tight ends. They actually call one of them an F-back. That's Pernell Hankton, 87. Tyler keeps on the option. Good decision. He stretches to the 10 where he should be good for a first down.
You know, Dave, you mentioned the advantage in size in the offensive line. I'm not sure that that's as big a deal. And the reason I say that is because every week you and I go and we see 300-pound offensive linemen. Just because you're 300 pounds and you bench 420 doesn't mean you can play the game. The thing that's impressive to me about this LSU group is they're moving people off the ball. They're in position to make the blocks. They're creating the gaps for Falk, Mealy, and in this case, Tyler. Doing an outstanding job.
Notice that combination. Size and movement, and as they stretch it by a half length, it is good for a Herb Tyler first down. Not quite first and goal, though, just outside the 10. Tyler DiNardo, All-American lineman in his career in the early 70s with Notre Dame, won a national championship with the Irish in 73 and with Colorado as an assistant coach in 90. And he says, when I recruit people, I tell them I've got 2 national championship rings at home, but when I think of those years, I don't think about stats. I don't think about anything individually. I think about what a great experience it was to be part of it all. Fake pitch, and Tyler breaks the tackle, reaches to 5. Fine bit of work, keeping his balance by Herb Tyler that time.
I really thought he was going to pitch this ball. He kept it last time and decided he liked how it worked out. Take a look at the pitch. Fools the backer, cuts up, and he's able to duck in and protect himself here rather than take the hit. Good job of faking out O.J. Childress, sophomore outside backer.
Tyler still perfect through the air, 6 of 6, 87 yards. High on 2nd and 4, play fake, in trouble and dropped at the 15-yard line on the safety blitz. Andre Carter.
That's a good call. Down to the 5-yard line, you're getting beat up. You got to take some chances. You got to come with somebody. In this case, you have 3 in the backfield. I'm surprised they didn't motion it. And number 28 in this case, Carter, just is completely unfooled by any degree of play fake and able to nail Tyler at the 15.
Carter, one of several Clemson graduate students, got his marketing degree last May. Working toward the Masters. We've got a handful of guys in that boat.
I love the quarterback draw here, Dave.
Tyler's done it well already tonight. This is 3rd and 14. Rolls, and it wasn't a draw, but he's going to keep. And he may score. One man to beat, and Antoine Edwards drives him out right at about the first down marker.
Dave, I was just about to say he didn't get it in the end zone, but I think he did get the first down. You know, the moniker was used by a quarterback in the early 70s, a fellow by the name of Marlon Briscoe, who went on to a pretty good career with both the Denver Broncos and the Miami Dolphins. But the term magician might apply here. There's one guy he avoids. He misses a second. There's a third. Now as he cuts to the outside and picks up some blocks downfield, switches the ball into his left arm. Can't quite bully his way through Edwards, but I think he did do it just enough for the first down.
Marlon the Magician, that was. I didn't remember that. Stretch the chains. When I was with you, I really thought he had enough of the first down, not even to half the measure.
I certainly did too, but this is no-brainer. You have all the big bodies, you have those tight ends. You're going for it.
And the big bodies are in. 235-pound Robert Tyler at fullback. Savoie at 239 will be at 1 tight end. Hankton is in at 259.
Now remember, they went with a pitch play. Clemson needs to flip some people from the outside and their inside back.
Tyler scores, but there's a marker down. Marker toward the far sideline just as the ball was snapped.
I'm not sure that LSU was set. Or it might have been offsides.
Dead ball. False start.
Yep.
And that changes everything strategically for DiNardo, who sends on the field goal unit.
Take a look at the bodies here. Does somebody move? They're pointing right here. They're pointing right here at the tight end, number 87, Hankton, but I didn't see the movement. Evidently, it happened sometime sooner, but once again, you have to be aware of the fact that the tight end can shift. I don't know. That looked kind of ticky-tack to me, Dave.
Hard to detect. It really was. So a 22-yarder by Ritchie, who missed from 48. No problem here. And LSU takes a 10-7 lead.
But as strange as this sounds, that's got to be some motivation for Clemson. They got to feel pretty good about themselves.
Absolutely. They saved 4 points. 4:35 to go in the first half. LSU on top for the first time.
Introducing Animal Planet, the new channel from the people who bring you Discovery Channel and the Learning Channel.
I'm Brad Hanks from Hanks Pontiac GMC Buick. We've been serving our family and friends in this area for over 26 years. And we pledge to continue to provide you with the quality vehicles, excellent maintenance, and friendly service you've come to expect from our family. Remember, we offer 3.9 financing and welcome trade-ins. As it gets cold outside, we invite you to stop by our showroom for a warm cup of coffee and our hospitality at Hanks Pontiac GMC Buick, Highway 1 South in Plaquemine.
Your worst day is never this bad. The Avalanche and the Blackhawks, Tuesday at 8:30. ESPN2, lucky you.
Presenting a space-age innovation in televised college basketball. It's called ESPN Full Court. It gives you tons of great college hoops action you couldn't get otherwise. Call your cable operator or DirecTV for ESPN Full Court.
Vernell Hankton is the tight end. Take a look closely. Watch his helmet. There it is. Moved just enough, and there you saw the people point. Very costly for LSU. And Jerry DiNardo, if you recall, as we were going to break, if you were watching, he had a conversation with the side judge wanting to know who it was and what the situation was, and he explained it to him. Now Jerry DiNardo pulls him aside and says, okay, here's what we need to do in future. Look at the ball. You cannot afford a motion penalty when you only have 6 inches for 6 points.
Danny Boyd again with a touchback. Coming up, the new Dodge halftime report. Chris and company from the side of the Sugar Bowl, New Orleans. An update from ESPN News and a preview from San Antonio of the Alamo Bowl. That's coming up. We have 4:35 to go in the first half of a 10-7 game, and Green for the first time having to come from behind. Elon Jr. from Yonkers, third leading passer in the ACC coming in. Has not had the start through the air that Herb Tyler has. He's 3 of 9 for 38 yards. Pitch to Priester, always a safe option. Raymond Priester to the 46. Not known for breaking the long one, but he busts this one 34 yards.
The thing that he does so well is his ability to break tackles, and take a look at the stiff arm that he puts on once he breaks into the secondary. Good block at the point of the attack. Kelton Dunnigan with a good lead block. Now once he breaks tackles, take a look at the stiff arm right here. Pow! Right in the mug of Mark Roman, puts him down, and you can see right there, he's tough to bring down. Just what the doctor orders for Clemson, as you pointed out, Dave, for the first time in the game. Hey, trailing.
Theo Williams is pretty quick. Ran him down from the defensive end.
Play fake, wide open, and dropped by Kelton Dunnigan.
Raymond Priester came in needing 56 yards to break Kenny Flowers' all-time rushing record for Clemson. And at 2,918, he has now, by 4 yards because of that last run, broken that mark by Flowers. 1253 this year, second 1,000-yard season, first guy to ever do that for those Tigers.
I found it interesting when I asked Tommy West, is there any chance he might be leaving after his junior year, and he actually looked surprised. Said, what?
Takes this one back, fumbles. And a recovery at the 34-yard line by Anthony McFarland for LSU.
Good blocking at the point of attack. Now take a look and see who it was that was able to strip the ball out. It appeared that from the back it was number 55, Chuck Wiley, as well as number 25, Greg Hill. But as you pointed out, McFarland downfield to make the recovery. Huge turnover as Clemson had it working.
Very un-Priester-like. Off it up. Each team with a turnover. LSU's fumble cost them dearly because that led to the Clemson touchdown. Tyler right to the air, juggled and dropped by Savoie. Ricky Savoie, quarterback all the way through his junior college career, then converted to the F-back spot, sort of a hybrid fullback tight end from Cutoff, Louisiana. Bobby Hebert country.
What can you say? You can say I should have had it. I'm sorry. And so, as a former quarterback, he goes back and says, what can I say? I'm sorry.
Hey, lead me a little bit more next time.
Yeah, right. Nothing to say. Tyler has been on the mark. That's his first incompletion, right?
Yep, with his first 6. Should be 7 for 7. Falk. Edwards, a sure open field tackle. That looked like it was going to go big, and it's just a 2-yard pickup.
Misdirection play. They had Savoie go in motion one direction and then come back and kick out. The interior for Clemson was not prepared for that, and you're right. Edwards coming up from his safety position, making a sure tackle. Otherwise, there would have been a lot of yardage on that particular play. And Priester is grateful, too. He's saying to his mates right now, please, 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 hold him here, make him free and kick, and I won't feel quite as bad.
Time for him to make up for it. Should they get it back? Wide shotgun 3rd and 8. Screen set up nicely for Kendall Cleveland, who is about 5 yards shy of the first, brought down by Trevor Price near the 40.
Now give Price and Edwards credit there. That screen was set up very well, and they should have got a lot more out of that. But they didn't as a result of Price's pursuit and Edwards breaking up the blocks in front of him. I really thought that was a gimme first down, Dave, but great pursuit on the part of the Clemson Tigers.
I don't think they worry anymore about Price and his ability to live up to billing. Kessler kicks it away. That is kind of a returnable kick from McLeon, but the LSU coverage is outstanding. 36-yarder comes back only 4, and it looked like it was going to go a lot farther than that, but Chris Cummings had other ideas.
Chris Cummings was 3rd in the NCAA 100 meters. This is a guy that can fly down the field, but I'm very impressed with his ability to tackle. Dave, that was a very returnable kick, only about 2.5 seconds hang time. Clemson should have got a little bit more out of that, but the pursuit was outstanding.
Let's check in with Chris Fowler.
Well, guys, coming up at halftime, we'll check on another ACC versus SEC battle, of course, here in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Lively day at the press conference, plenty of sparring. A snake sighting in Pasadena. They'll have the story of the Rose Bowl, and our bowl blitzers will drop by to check out 4 of the bigger bowl games. All that at halftime from right next door to the Superdome, back to the Georgia Dome.
All right, Chris Fowler, along with Lee Corso for Kirk Street in New Orleans. We have 2:28 in the first half here. 10-7 LSU, but plenty of time for Clemson to drive it from their 29-yard line before halftime. Right back to Priester, who follows up the fumble with a pickup of 6 and a tackle by Pat Rogers.
A lot of the boos that you heard were what people thinking that maybe there could have been a face mask or some clips going on behind the play. Take a look at the end of the play. You can see right here. Yes, it is right there. He pulls the helmet off. It looked like it might have been the side of the helmet, but certainly the Clemson faithful didn't think so. They thought they should have had a flag.
It was strange because they only started booing as they came up to the line of scrimmage, but that's when they were played on the replay screens. Priester starting to get his rhythm. Going to be near the first down marker. May have it at 39. Tackled by Wiley.
Now you see the clock stopping at 1:45. Be interesting here what Clemson opts to do. They're certainly taking their time. We had their game at the end of the season. We played South Carolina down 34-17, and they certainly proved to us that they know how to operate in the 2-minute drill. Be interesting to see what Tommy West does here now as the clock starts to dwindle down to a precious few seconds.
Yeah, down in that one at 2 late scores and missed by a matter of feet, really, what would have been a tying field goal and possible overtime against their dread rivals, the Gamecocks. It is a first down. But they still got the bowl bid with a mark of 7-4. 6-2 in the ACC was their second place finish and the best they've had in the conference since they won it in 1991. Now, what's different since 1991 is there's Florida State to consider. So everybody jockeys in position behind the Seminoles, and Clemson this year right there with North Carolina. Just behind FSU. Made by Green. Lots of time to go over the middle, way over Joe Woods, though, who was wide open near the 30.
Well, he was deceptively open. That's a curious route there. Couldn't tell whether or not he wanted to run an in or a post. And it seemed like both receiver and quarterback were confused on that play.
Green during the year, a little bit wild on occasion, but 53% for as many touchdowns as interceptions. We've already seen the ability to run and keep a defense off balance on the first touchdown of the game. Straight through the middle. Nice hole for Priester. Good for a pickup to the 48-yard line. About 9 as we get under 1:20 to play in the half. And Clemson at that point will use its first timeout. LSU is down to only 1. 2 more for Tommy West, trailing 10-7.
You want to play sports at an NCAA Division I or II school?
You must be certified by the NCAA Initial Eligibility Clearinghouse. Get one of these student release forms from your coach or guidance counselor and send it to the clearinghouse. Remember, if you're not certified, you can't compete as a freshman in Division I or II. For more information, call toll-free 800-638-3731.
Want to play? Know the rules.
This message provided by the NCAA.
2 timeouts remaining for Clemson. They're looking at a 3rd down and a long one from the 48-yard line. Trailing 10-7. Plenty of time to at least get field goal position. They send Woods wide to the right, and Crooks, who's had a quiet first half, to a receiving leader, unlike Priester, quiet first half, wide left. Green again throws one high, but this one is handled really for no gain, though, by Lamont Hall, the tight end.
Strange call here. I would have anticipated that calling the timeout to give the ball to Priester, get the first down, call 2 plays that are up at the line of scrimmage with about a minute remaining, and the clock stopped because of the first down and doing something.
Well, LSU will call its final timeout.
That I don't understand.
Anticipating a punt, getting it back with 55 seconds.
But you have no timeouts, so you're going to have the ball probably inside the 20. There's no way you're going to score, and you're up by 3. That actually gives Clemson an opportunity to look over their offensive sheet and maybe take a chance there at midfield.
But think about this, though. You do get, hopefully, if you're LSU, the ball in Falk's hands one more time.
That may be the case, but the likelihood of that with less than a minute left and him going the distance isn't real good here.
ABC Sports proud to present the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, at 4:30 on New Year's Day. Arizona State looks to wrap up a perfect season against Ohio State. On January 2nd, join ABC down on the Bayou for the Nokia Sugar Bowl. It's a Sunshine State rematch between the Seminoles and the Gators. The win, of course, gives Florida State the inside track for the national championship. It's the Sugar Bowl, January 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on ABC.
So Florida State and Arizona State win. Who's number 1?
I would be very surprised if it's not Florida State, just based on 2 wins over Florida. And a tougher overall schedule, but Arizona State's going to have an argument if they beat Ohio State and finish 12-0.
You say they beat Florida twice, but then they will have beaten Ohio State and Nebraska.
That's true, too. That's the fun of it, I guess. You have these arguments that go on all year. Florida State. Kick by Laird, an excellent one because Long has to call the fair catch. Hung that one up nicely, and it's 35 yards, and it's LSU ball with no timeouts, just as you had prognosticated at their 17-yard line.
Well, one of the things that stands out to me, which is very surprising, is that both teams came into this game with struggling defenses. Against South Carolina, Clemson had given up two backs, had over 130 yards rushing. That has not been a factor for LSU. On the other side of the ball, Clemson has run the ball effectively with Priester, but they've only been able to get the ball in the end zone one time. So this has been very unpredictable up to this point.
Quick hit by Tony Planton that time, planting Rondell Mealy, redshirt freshman from Destrehan, Louisiana.
Safe to say that LSU is content to go to the locker room with a 3-point lead?
It would appear so. Although Falk checks back in for Mealy.
Remember a couple of years ago when Philadelphia was playing Dallas? Buddy Ryan was the coach. At the end of the game, they all huddle up like he's going to kneel down. Then all of a sudden he pops up and throws the up route.
Yeah, they had the grudge that stemmed from the strike season. And Buddy thought Tom Landry ran it up on him. He was going to run it right back up on Tom Landry. Yeah.
I guess that's not going to happen here.
Gary Bernardo settling for a 10-7 halftime lead in the Peach Bowl over Clemson. And from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, we sent you right outside the Superdome in New Orleans. And let's hear from the group headed by Chris Fowler. Chris?
All right, fellas, thank you. Welcome to our ESPN Bowl headquarters just across the way from the Superdome, the site of Thursday night's game between the Seminoles and the Gators in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit will join me. We'll have some NFL highlights from our ESPN News studios. We'll also talk about the Rose Bowl, get the story there, hear from Jake Plummer. And here in the Sugar Bowl, plenty to talk about on a very eventful day. The feuding Floridians set to rematch Warwick Dunn and company against the Gator team that has vowed to make things different the second time around. At halftime in the Georgia Dome, it's the LSU Tigers over the Clemson Tigers by a field goal. Halftime straight ahead.
Atlanta's a great city. In 1996, 18 million people will visit our community, generating $10 billion in revenue and creating 175,000 jobs. We will continue to market Atlanta as a premier convention and tourism city. The tourism industry is good for Atlanta's continued growth and economic vitality, and that means even more jobs. For conventions and tourism, we have the momentum for a great 1997.
If we all settled for good enough, would things ever be good enough?
The luxurious Chrysler LHS. Cab forward design, speed-sensitive steering, independent touring suspension, 8-way power seats, personal security system, and now get a lease for just $359 a month. The Chrysler LHS. This goes way beyond good enough. What's new in your world?
You're ready to quit. Great. Now, which patch? Single strength Nicotrol? But that means one single step. If you're not comfortable with that, you may want Nicoderm CQ. CQ's a 3-strength program. You start with the highest strength and gradually step down till you free yourself of nicotine. And gradual is the method doctors and pharmacists prefer. Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to quit successfully.
From the worldwide leader in sports, this is ESPN News.
And welcome to those of you watching the Peach Bowl on ESPN, along with Dave Feldman. I'm Michael Kim, and you're watching ESPN News. Time to get you caught up on some of the sports headlines and highlights, beginning with Wild Card Saturday.
It was a wild one, too, Michael. There's no question about that. It was the AFC's team of the 90s versus an AFC team that was born in the 90s. The Buffalo Bills, with 4 Super Bowl appearances and a 10-1 AFC playoff record against the Jacksonville Jaguars, playing their first playoff game ever in only their second year in the league. What would give Jags and Bills, Tom Coughlin, oh man, what a season. Second quarter, Jags down 14-10. Natrone Means stop. No, he's not. 30 yards for Natrone Means, who would not take no for an answer. Jags take the lead 17-14. Fourth quarter, game tied at 20. Mark Brunell drops back, but he's picked off by Jeff Burris, who goes in untouched and without an escort. 38 yards, 27-20, Bills lead. Late fourth quarter, game tied at 27. Mike Hollis with a field goal attempt. He kicks it, and it's good. Jags win 30-27. Marv Levy, he won't need that headset anymore. Buffalo's first playoff loss ever at Rich Stadium. Purnell finished 18 for 33 for 239 yards and 2 scores. Means finished with a playoff career high 175 yards on 31 carries. Michael.
In the NFC, Cowboys and Vikings, the 20th playoff game at Texas Stadium, and a big game for George Teague. First quarter, 7-0 Cowboys. Brad Johnson to Ampley. Ampley running for the touchdown, but George Teague from behind strips him. That's a touchback, and Dallas takes over. We move ahead to the second quarter. George Teague coming up big again. Brad Johnson rolling right, looking for not that man, but Teague is there. He takes it 29 yards the other way for a touchdown. Big game for George Teague. Big win for the Dallas Cowboys. Final score, 40-15. Troy Aikman now 11-1 in playoff starts. The Vikings, meanwhile, lose their postseason opener for the 4th time in as many games under Dennis Green. The Cowboys will now meet the Carolina Panthers in Charlotte next Sunday. College football now. Terry Allen, the winningest active coach in Division I AA, has decided it's time to take on the Nebraskas of the world. Allen, who compiled a 75-26 record at Northern Iowa, was named head football coach today at Kansas. He replaces Glenn Mason, who left for Minnesota. Dave?
Well, Derek Anderson played his first 2 years of college ball at Ohio State. His sophomore year, he was all Big Ten before getting injured. But he wasn't happy, so he transferred, sat out a year, and now is the leading scorer on the 3rd-ranked team in the nation. That would be Kentucky. A homecoming of sorts for Mr. Anderson. And early on, it's a pretty good start. That's a 2. Kentucky up 5. More Derek Anderson steals and goes all the way. You know, he should have transferred a long time ago. It's good for him. Kentucky up 10. Second half, OSU coming back. Stringer, the alley-oop to Jason Singleton. And then more Buckeyes. Singleton to Stringer, who goes back to Singleton. Deposit. OSU down 5. Wildcats answer. Ron Mercer, the steal. Brings it and feeds Nazar Muhammad. That's a deuce. Kentucky wins it 81-65. They get their 10th straight victory. Mercer finished with 22. Anderson with 22. Kentucky wins it 81-65.
Well, for those of you watching on ESPN, we return you to the Peach Bowl. For those of you watching ESPN News, stay with us. He's Dave Feldman. I'm Michael Kim. Thanks for watching.
A truck's life is filled with slings and arrows, including the inevitable flying stones and unmanned shopping carts. So we designed the all-new Dodge Dakota with software that optimizes dent resistance. Life on the road may be a battle, but Dakota has superior armor. The new Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises.
Jesse, you're next.
I'm all yours.
Save it for the stage, Romeo.
Carol always gives it to me straight. Like when she told me about my...
I told him about Head & Shoulders. Regular shampoos just rinse flakes away so they could come back. Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes from even forming. You see the difference? You look great.
Thanks, but will it get me this part?
Couldn't hurt.
Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
Hey, break a leg.
It's the perfect landing. It's another business day. It's friendly blue, waiting there for you. It's traveling your way.
Call today. For just $18.95 a day, you can rent a Dodge Neon or similar compact car from Thrifty.
Best of all, it's Thrifty. Renting cars with wide worldwide.
This halftime report is brought to you by the new Dodge. We're thinking ahead.
And welcome back to the New Dodge Halftime Report from New Orleans. I'm Chris Fowler. Lee Corso and Kirk Herbstreit join me in a second. Well, so far here at the Nokia Sugar Bowl, most of the focus has not been on the game 5 days away, but the game that was 4 weeks ago. And the most popular home video in the country, not Independence Day, at least not down here, it's this tape right here detailing the alleged late hits by Florida State players on Danny Werfel in that game. Fiery day at the press conference as Spurrier, then Bowden, came to the podium. Steve was asked why his quarterback, Werfel, is so calm about the hits and he is so feisty. He replied the answer, lies in the Bible.
He's like a New Testament person. You know, he gets slapped upside the face, he turns the other cheek. Says, Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. And I'm probably more of an Old Testament guy. You spear our guy in the ear hole, we think we're supposed to spear you in the ear hole. You know, that's sort of my, probably. So that's how we're a little different.
What'd he say? What'd he say? I've never seen Steve get this personal. You know, I like him, dadgummit, and I like his family. And I just think it's got, well, I do. I think it's just gotten a little personal. It don't need to do that. You know, but it's not that dang big a deal. It's only a game. Get fired if you don't win, but it's only a game.
Entertaining day at the press conference. I think both their job security is just fine. There's some sentiment that maybe the Florida offensive linemen are too nice, and they should, in the Old Testament term, strike back with furious vengeance. This is a bowl rematch, and that's what spiced things up, obviously. The recent history of rematches in bowls, UCLA and Michigan, with the Bruins winning both games. Michigan State won both games against USC in '87. Of course, the tie led up to the Florida State victory here 2 years ago, and Toledo and Nevada in last year's Vegas Bowl. You'll notice all four of those games, the second time around, the game's much lower scoring. They averaged 48 points combined, 61 points combined in the first meeting. So here we come with another bowl rematch, the 11th in history, the second time these two teams in 3 years have rematched. And of course, it's already a situation where both these teams know each other. They've gotten very close together from high school on. Many have played high school football against each other. They knew each other going in. Lee, what do you make of this whole coaching controversy? Is it a sideshow?
Well, after the first game, Steve Spurrier took exception to the treatment of his quarterback, Danny Werfel, so he did what any good coach would do. He made his case by getting a tape. He went public. Now, what Bobby Bowden did was what any good coach would do. He reacted publicly, and that was the problem. The media got a hold of this thing, and they blew it all out of proportion. My recommendation to the coaches is this. The next time one of the media, including us, ask you about the tape, ask you about officiating, say, hey, no more comment, let's talk about the game. You know what will happen then? The print media will quit writing about it, we'll quit talking about it, and then we can talk about Ike Hilliard, Darrell Bush, the blitzes, and the game. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Coach, I agree with you 100%. I think we're losing focus of why we're here in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl. This is for the biggest game of all in the bowl games, and I think when you talk to the players on both sides, I think it's a lot of hype right now. I talk to the Florida players. They say they respect these players. They say during the game, maybe there is some hatred. Afterwards, they're going to shake hands and come out, and they're still going to be friends. But let's not lose focus here. These are two great, powerful teams, and I think that it's a lot of hype right now.
Yeah, we have Spurrier on a Sunday conversation, so Steve, say no comment after that. At least give us a comment on that. I think your point is, in a urinating contest, both guys get wet.
You said that on television?
Oh,
man.
Now, let's talk about some of the guys who are the unsung players in this game, because we've got a Heisman winner, a Thorpe winner, and 5 other All-Americans, but they're not the whole story.
Well, I think Chevin Smith for Florida State is a player that's gotten it done all season long. He's upgraded the secondary for Florida State from an athletic standpoint. He got it done, led the entire Florida State team with interceptions. Pooh Bear Williams, no touchdowns through 10 games, 2 against Florida. And on the Florida side, Tony George. He is a phenomenal player, great athlete. In the future, he'll be a secondary star, but right now, he's a special teams guru.
Well, you know, Rock Preston, the number 2 tailback behind Warwick Dunn, is out because of academics, and that puts Dee Feaster into the situation. Now, he has run the ball only 20 times this year as a tailback for Florida State, averages 3.1 carry. Now, the key to this whole situation, if Warwick Dunn gets hurt for Florida State, the Noles are in big-time trouble because they're going to miss Rock Preston a lot.
Yeah, Shavy, the message hit the books. Rock Preston missing what would be the biggest game of his life across the street here. Now, meanwhile, in Pasadena, another big game as the Sun Devils gun for perhaps a share of the national title, perhaps the outright title, if the Gators can beat the Seminoles here. For the latest on that story, Mike Adamle in Pasadena. Mike?
Chris, we're here at Universal Studios Hollywood, and it's one of those special times during Rose Bowl week where the players from both sides have a chance to let down their guard and have a little fun. Now, tonight, a special talent competition, and one of the featured attractions, Arizona State's Jake Plummer. Lee Corso, pay attention.
There are some non-believers out there. One goes by the name of Lee Corso. Tell me what you think about him, Jake. There's nothing to say about that, man. Well, you heard it here first. It's kind of funny because you might be able to work out some of those frustrations face to face. Yes, Mr. Corso, can you please come up, please? Where is the man? There you go. Okay.
I'm telling you right now, Ohio State wins the Rose Bowl.
Okay, so Jake may not have a future in Hollywood, but he does know all about the performing arts. High drama has always been the Snake's specialty. In 39 career starts, Plummer has rescued his team from fourth-quarter ties or deficits 10 times. Perhaps his crowning achievement this year, October 12th versus UCLA at the Rose Bowl. The Sun Devils trailed 34-21 going into the final quarter. Jake took over, throwing for a score, catching a touchdown pass for 6, and then running into the end zone with a game-winning touchdown. A remarkable single-handed performance that spoke volumes about his talent and leadership.
You have to be somebody they look up to and can listen to, and you got to do right also. You can't go out and say one thing and then be out doing the opposite of what you just said. So being a leader, there's lots of leaders on this team. There's a lot of silent leaders and some guys that like to talk, but me, I just go out and perform. That's the way I lead this team.
He's our leader. He's like my General Patton. I'll follow that guy anywhere. If he runs into the wall, I'll run right behind him. And if he jumps off a cliff, I'll probably hold his hand.
He's like one of us. That's what's funny is everyone, he's up for the Heisman and all that stuff, but we know him as little twerp on our team. He's just a little fun guy to mess around with, and actually last night me and him were wrestling all night.
But on New Year's Day, there will be no messing around as Plummer and company face an Ohio State defense that was second in the country against the pass. Junior cornerback and Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, Sean Springs, is looking forward to the challenge.
Well, he can make so many things happen, and not just Jake Plummer, but Keith Poole. He's a great receiver, and everybody talks about him. So, and if you want to be the best, you have to go up against the best and see where you at. If I win, then I'm the best. If he wins, he's the best.
You the best?
I think so.
Chris, Lee, Kirk, everybody's looking for some kind of edge here at the Rose Bowl. Well, maybe it will boil down to the singing, and if that's the case, give the edge to the Buckeyes.
Sun Devils won the Beef Bowl, traditional eating contest. Buckeyes, big edge in the talent show. What about the defense for the Sun Devils?
Trying to get over that singing there. The Ohio State defense coming into this game, they've been pressuring teams all season long. They've come up with 30 turnovers, 38 sacks because of the way they're pressuring under Fred Puggage's new defense this year. They've never faced a quarterback like Jake the Snake. He has the ability to move around in the pocket, find receivers downfield. And the other thing is, if Ohio State pins their ears back and really goes after Jake the Snake, look for Arizona State to at least try to run the football, because they can do that with Terry Battle as well.
I got a great idea. We ought to have Bowden and Spurrier have a little singing contest. Get back together, nice gentlemen. Look, if it's a close ball game, you got to give the edge to Arizona State. The reason they won 3 close ball games in the fourth quarter to get to the Rose Bowl, Ohio State, they couldn't come up with the win against Michigan in the fourth quarter. I think their confidence is down. Arizona's is up. I was going to say something nice against Arizona State, but that little shot they took at me. No, not saying that tonight.
Buckeyes are good at the first-round knockouts. When teams have hung in games with them, they've really struggled. Indiana, Michigan, some other games.
You were going to say something nice?
I was. At halftime. In the Georgia Dome. He gets done 10-7. Tigers of LSU over the Clemson Tigers. Coming up, the Bowl Blitz. We'll talk about the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta, the Citrus, and the Cotton as we continue from New Orleans.
At Associated Grocers, we combine the buying power of over 230 independent retailers. And that means savings. Savings pass directly to you from this area's largest distributor of farm fresh produce, sure-finding sure-fresh products, and name brand items. At your nearby Associated supermarket, our buying power is your buying power.
In a hurry? Going places? Gotta fly? We've got new lower fares to your favorite cities at Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport. With more than 2,500 seats daily to get your travel plans moving. So when you're going places, check our new fares first. Competitive fares, convenient service at Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport.
We continue from New Orleans, one of the traditions of the trolleys along Canal Street there. Nokia Sugar Bowl, 5 days away. Meanwhile, our Bowl Blitzers are back. Traditional look at the 4 big games. We'll start with a look at the Orange Bowl, the Hokies and the Cornhuskers with Ivan Maisel.
For the first time in 4 years, Nebraska is playing in a bowl game in which number 1 isn't at stake. Will the Huskers care enough to send their very best? They'd better.
Virginia Tech finished the year with victories over 3 bowl teams by an average of 16 points. Keep an eye on the Huskers' special teams. Tech knows how to block kicks, and Nebraska's holder and key man in punt protection is John Vedral, suspended for the game after a drunk driving arrest. Enough doubts about Nebraska. Their ground game should grind up the Hokies the way it did everybody else. Virginia Tech's one loss came in a blowout to Syracuse, the only option team the Hokies played. Tom Osborne's teams are 2-7 in the Orange Bowl. If the Huskers find motivation, they'll be 1-0 in Pro Player Stadium. The Bowl Blitz continues with Tony Barnhart.
The Citrus Bowl could be the last game for 2 of college football's brightest juniors. Tennessee's Peyton Manning will huddle with Archie after the game, while the Volunteer faithful hold their breath. Northwestern's Darnell Autry posted his 2nd straight 1,000-yard season, his 2nd straight Big Ten championship. He, too, may be ready for the NFL. But defense, not offense, will win this game. Northwestern and Pat Fitzgerald are good. Tennessee and Tyrone Hines are better. Despite the loss of Leonard Little, Tennessee gave up only 293 yards in its last 2 games. Tennessee wins the Citrus, and the Peyton Manning watch begins. And now the Bowl Blitz continues with Gary Daniels.
The Fiesta got 2 teams in Texas and Penn State that finished off their seasons playing their best football all year. And really for the same reason, their quarterback. Texas's James Brown showed the country that he can do more than just talk a good game when he passed, ran, and suckered Nebraska right out of the championship game. The last 8 games, Texas is averaging more than 500 yards a game. Penn State's Wally Richardson found his form late in the season to make the Lion offense more than just a run and play-action team. Now matched with Kurt Enos, Texas will have to stop a more balanced attack than the one-dimensional Nebraska. 10 years ago, Penn State won a national championship in the Fiesta Bowl against Miami with a late interception. This game, I think, is going to go right to the wire. Doesn't mean as much, but it's going to be just as hard to win. The Bowl Blitz now continues with Gene Wojciechowski.
BYU fans have only bought about 5,000 tickets to the Cotton Bowl compared to the 30,000 plus purchased by Kansas State followers. Too bad. They don't know what they're missing. Steve Sarkisian is a poster quarterback for passing efficiency, but he'll have to make do with that All-American tight end Tula Mealy, who blew out his knee in the WAC championship. Sarkisian told me that means fewer mismatches, no more of their favorite double tight end sets, but lots more of Chad Lewis and James Dye. Sarkisian also said the real strength of K-State isn't its all-star secondary, but its rush defense, which dares you to throw the ball. BYU is fearless, but with no Mealy, Wildcats get a huge break and a close victory.
Thanks, guys. Next up, halftime of the Peach Bowl, we'll preview the Alamo Bowl. Great matchup of tailbacks. Nealon Green and the Tigers scored first, but trailed by...
Our engineers gave it the largest interior in its class. They made room for the biggest engine available and specified the longest wheelbase. Then they added one more surprise, the taut, precise steering feel of a sports sedan. So when Sport Truck Magazine named the new Dodge Dakota Sport Truck of the Year, we were honored, but not surprised. The new Dodge Dakota. It's full of surprises.
When fix-it problems hit you from out of the blue, trust the folks in the red vest. They've got shelves full of products and loads of ideas to fix any fix you're in. Because Ace is the place for the helpful hardware folks.
Okay, now don't get Grandma too excited.
She has been running on the same Duracell battery since the Ice Age.
Wow, those Duracell batteries sure do last.
The Copper Top. No battery is stronger, longer.
Hey, what's up, John? Hey, what's up, man? Watch the curve.
Yeah, we're driving like my grandmother.
Yeah, you drink like mine.
Give me a break, man.
The idea is to keep the car on the road.
How about giving me another drink?
Yeah, right. I think you've had enough.
Give me the wheel. Yeah, hold on, man.
I got it, man. Yo, man, just slow down, man. Yeah, man. Every time I give it a man.
Our new Dodge halftime continues from New Orleans. There's a local landmark at Pat O'Brien's, the Mountain of Fire, as we continue our Old Testament theme here this evening. ABC and ESPN offer you the most complete coverage of college football's final week. ESPN's Bowl Week brings you the top performers from the top conferences, as well as Analysis from the top analysts on the battle for number one. ABC provides the punctuation with their broadcast of the national championship, the Rose Bowl, and the Sugar Bowl. ABC and ESPN, your source for college football. Tomorrow, another great matchup of tailbacks. That's one of the themes of Bowl Week as we take you to the Alamo Bowl. Builder Square Alamo Bowl at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Texas Tech with Byron Hanspard, the 2,000-yard rusher, and Cedric Shaw, Iowa's fine running back. For a preview, we go to Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried.
Thanks, Chris Fowler. The beautiful Riverwalk in downtown San Antonio, Texas. Site, of course, of the Alamo Bowl. And Mike Gottfried, I think we've got two of the premier running backs in all of college football. Hanspard over 2,000 yards this year, and of course Shaw over 1,000 yards, and he comes back home to his native state of Texas to show off his wares.
Ron, two great running backs. They're two running backs that can go the distance, but more importantly than that, when you look at Cedric Shaw, he carried the ball 42 times in his career versus Michigan State in one ball game. Byron Hanspard carried it 41 times versus Texas A&M. So they're durable running backs, and how their offense goes will determine how they play.
Mike, I think it's also interesting that Iowa this year, Dane of Wisconsin under 100, Pearson of Ohio State, and also Enos of Penn State under 100. They're very capable defensively.
Good defensive team of Iowa, but Darnell Autry got 240. And I'm sure Spike Dykes and his staff are going to look at that tape very, very closely.
Northwestern spreads the field a little bit. Maybe that's a key. Always a fast track. It's always a fun game. The Alamo Bowl. Hanspard against Shaw. Chris Fowler, back to you.
Thank you, fellas. Look forward to that ball game. Motivation key in any bowl game, and especially key for Iowa. They played a very, very poor bowl game last year. We thought they matched up very well against Washington and barely showed up there.
Well, I think that's the key in any bowl game, as you said, but especially here with the Iowa Hawkeyes. Iowa's played great defense, and Mike just showed you that, but the thing they have to do in this game against Byron Hanspard, the best back in my mind in the entire country, is come to play early in the game, because if Byron Hanspard gets the momentum going, it could be a long day for the Iowa Hawkeyes. I like Iowa to show up ready in this game. I think the Hawkeyes will get it done.
Not so fast from New Orleans, my friend. The first one of the year. Texas Tech has a nice situation going for them psychologically. Here's the situation. Texas is Texas Tech against the world. Texas Tech has 107 players in their football team. They got 7 of them from out of state. Home cooking and speed. Texas Tech over Iowa.
We'll see.
We'll see if the crowd wins the football game. And so far, it's not the case here. And, of course, it was Iowa that played well. Washington, I misspoke, is the team that did not show up in that bowl game last year. The second half is coming up as both the Tigers from LSU and Clemson have showed up in the first half. It's what Georgia and I have expected. A tight ball game. Right now, the field goal is the margin.
The mystery of life is the excitement of life.
Odyssey is like an unknown journey. It's an adventure.
It's a wonderful puzzle, and we all carry different pieces.
It's exciting to me that our life's path could totally change.
Just let the light shine, and hopefully it'll catch on.
I hope that when I leave this world, it will be better than when I came into it, because I've added a little moment of something special.
It could happen to you. You're traveling alone when suddenly a tire blows out, or perhaps engine failure. What are you going to do? Who are you going to call? Fortunately, there's Tortorich Towing and Wrecker Service, the anytime, anywhere, 24-hour damage-free towing and wrecker service. Don't take your chances waiting by the side of the road. Prepare ahead of time. Make sure you have Tortorich's number with you wherever you go, or request that the officer at the scene call us. The number. Don't leave town without it.
I think a big part of what makes going to LSU so different is the uniqueness of Louisiana. People come to LSU from all over the world, and the atmosphere is a lot of it. The culture, traditions, the history, the whole Louisiana experience is right here. There's a Cajun word, lagniappe, that means something extra, and I think that really describes LSU.
LSU, as unique as Louisiana.
At the Peach Bowl in the Georgia Dome, 10-7, LSU over Clemson as we get set to start the second half. It'll be Clemson kicking to LSU. Priester and Falk in the first half. Priester 14 for 91, but he had his first fumble of the year. In fact, his first in 420 carries going back to last year. Falk, 12 rushes, only 36 yards. He did have a touchdown. He also did break a couple of nice punt returns, and he's deep alongside Rondell Mealy as Matt Padgett starts the second half. And this from the 14-yard line is Mealy. return to the 29-yard line. Dave Barnett and Todd Christensen. One thing that Jerry DiNardo said yesterday, really ringing true so far, and he thought that the rushing games would sort of balance one another out, and the team that threw it best would be in control. So far, that's been the case.
It has been. Herb Tyler has been outstanding in the first half, with the exception of the one drop by the tight end. He has been perfect, and he's the guy that really is the reason why they're up 10-7, as you documented just that. Falk not having a great first half, but Tyler has been the main man for the Tigers.
Tyler near perfect. Only incompletion and drop by Savoie. And the give to Falk, who is hit for a loss. First man there. Williams quickly with Price to join him. Let's hear on the sideline from Pam Ward.
All right, Dave, I talked to Jerry DiNardo, the head coach at LSU, and he says the problem really with Raymond Priester getting 91 yards, he said his team tackled well early and then got very sloppy with the ball. As far as Kevin Falk is concerned, only 36 yards on the ground. He says he's happy right now with the mix in his offense and won't do anything in particular to see that Kevin Falk gets more carries. He likes the balance. One thing, though, he says they have to cut down on the mistakes, the penalties, and the turnovers. Dave?
All right, Pam. That was a mistake. That was a loss of 4. Second and 14. Larry Foster in motion. And Tyler overthrows Savoie this time. Had a step on Michael Allen, 3rd and 14.
Same route they were successful with once, and it was also the same route that he dropped earlier. He did have him by a step. The coverage a little bit better on the part of Allen, but still, that was a situation where it was a catchable ball if he can bring it back.
To something you said in the first half, if they go to LaFleur, there's probably not much, if anything, that Clemson can do to defend against him. He's got only 2 catches tonight. Haven't gone his way as often as you might think.
Well, he's split out wide now.
And in slot left, they don't go to him here. It's Foster making the first down grab. Great pattern. Has the first down by a couple of feet, a gain of 16.
I mentioned Tyler. You mentioned how almost perfect he was in the first half. This is a great throw. Watch as it comes into your screen. He's going to throw it before he turns around. The ball's in the air. See, he just now turned around. That's a nice catch on the part of Foster. But boy, Tyler's the one that makes the play, puts it right on the money before he gets hammered by Price.
Young skill positions for LSU. 2 freshman wide receivers, a freshman fullback, sophomore tailback, and Tyler, a sophomore quarterback. But this year, the 3rd best offense in the SEC. Their most total yards since '87. Tyler option pitch, a lot of room for Falk. Runs into Edwards. Just shy of the first down marker, right at midfield.
Injured player on the field, too, Dave.
That man down right at about the 45-yard line.
Once again, Falk has an awful lot of room to run. The offensive line of LSU being very assertive.
Well, it is Ryan Thomasy, sophomore guard. Number 65 back up to Adam Perry at left guard. And they appear to be checking on the left knee of Ryan Thomasy, Galliano, Louisiana. 6'1", 282-pounder. You see Nicky Savoie in that huddle around Thomasy, checking on him. As they stretch the change, just a few links shy of the first down on that carry by Falk. We might be able to see what happens here to Thomasy.
Take a look right here. There he is as he comes out on the pull. Sometimes it looked like all of a sudden that he just pulled up. That looked more like a hamstring than it did a knee. But we'll wait to see. That was one of those non-collision injuries. You know, Dave, a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, playing on the turf in Philadelphia, covering a kick, and it's like the turf just reached up and grabbed me. It was amazing.
I've seen that happen.
I didn't hit anybody. And ended up getting a hairline fracture of a bone in my foot.
Well, they continue to check on Ryan Thomasy. We'll take a break. 13:35 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Ford Ranger is so useful it can even do your laundry for you. First, make sure your clothes are dirty enough.
Excellent!
Add detergent. Filter lined with water. Wash. Put on spin cycle. And hang your clothes out to dry. Ford Ranger. America's best-selling compact pickup, starting at just $10,880.
Definitely makes the white whiter. We deliver great quality, time after time.
Same with Super 8.
Every room is comfortable. And roomy.
Super 8.
Super 8. Life's great at Super 8.
Give me a large fry, super size.
I got it. I got it.
It's time to pick the 97 NBA All-Star team.
Anything the kid wants.
And you can vote for your favorite players.
I love that haircut, man.
Where they serve America's favorite fries. McDonald's. Vote today.
It's your world, baby.
In a high-tech genetic laboratory, a young scientist will soon confront an ancient principle. Survival of the fittest.
Somebody want to tell me what that was?
The gradual extinction of the human race.
From the producer of Aliens and Terminator 2, The Relic. Rated R. Starts Friday, January 10th.
ESPN's presentation of the Peach Bowl is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Super 8. With over 1,500 locations throughout North America, life's great at Super 8.
Ryan Thomas, he hopped up and was helped off to the LSU sideline. He has been replaced by Adam Perry. They continue to check on Ryan. Second and short. Clock easily with the first of the Clemson 45. So the Tigers open with a steady dose of Kevin Falk here early in the second half. The LSU Tigers. And that's a good sight. Thomas up and testing that leg out.
Well, evidently it was something in his knee. Because usually it's the really, it's the fast guys, the smaller guys get the hamstrings.
Now that you mentioned, I can't recall the last time I remember a lineman pulling a hamstring. Maybe not the case here either. There's LaFleur. 33 of Clemson, first down, 12 yards. Couldn't they do that just about any time they want?
Well, again, here's a situation where Clemson comes with the blitz. Good job by Tyler of seeing that. And man-for-man coverage, particularly with the idea that you don't necessarily have cover guys at the safeties for Clemson. Yeah, I would think that this is one of those deals that they could pull off almost any time they want it.
David LaFleur gets his third catch. Good yardage every time, average of 15, first down. Clemson's 33. Trying to add to a 3-point lead. Good pattern and a nice layup by Savoy. Goes 9 yards. That's the catch of the night.
I'm telling you, he took that right before it got the turn. Take a look. Off the fake option, you're going to see Savoy cross the picture. And watch the throw by. It's a little bit low. Look at him lay out. Wow, what a catch. All hands. And something else, Dave. No gloves. Bare-handed. Sweet catch.
That, you'd have to say, makes up for the drop on the only first half incompletion by Tyler.
Okay, if you say so. 8-yard gain versus the 20, but, well, then again, maybe. That was a well of a catch, though.
Look where it gets him. Second and 124 of Clemson. Falk should have the first as he stretches forward out of the hit of Mon Wilson. Plymouth Holiday Bowl action coming up. Number 13 Washington, number 8 Colorado on ESPN. That's Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, from Jack Murphy Stadium, San Diego.
How about the story of that tailback for Washington? Comes from the JC, was working as a trucker. All of a sudden, Sheehy gets hurt. Dillon, I believe, is his name. Rushes for over 1,500 yards. Great story.
Tyler keeping on the option and gets inside the 20.
And boy, oh boy, at the end of the play, the free safety, Antoine Edwards came up and absolutely leveled Falk. Falk wasn't paying any attention at all, and he got absolutely whacked. Take a look right here if you can follow at the end of the play. Tyler's going to cut upfield. Maybe Falk will be out of your picture. It's hard to tell. But now he's just coasting, and he ends up getting whacked at the end of the play. Tyler getting a minimal gain. Maybe there's a situation where he could have pitched. But, you know, see, that's what happens sometimes, Dave, is you get successful running the option as he did earlier by keeping the ball. Then he feels inclined not to pitch.
Kept it for 4. Sends Foster in motion. Movement on the left side of the offensive line by Adam Perry for LSU. Steve Juszczyk, the referee.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
And they now need 11 yards on second down. Let's hear from Pam Ward.
Okay, we have an update on Ryan Thomasy. He took a direct hit to the knee. Looks like a helmet to the knee, and the training staff says that his foot went numb. And right now, the training staff has told Ryan that if he gets some feeling back in his foot, he likely will return. But so far, Ryan says he can't feel a thing. Back to you guys.
Well, the man that is in there for him, Perry, just jumped early. Savoie in motion. And Tyler bangs one up over the head of Foster. Pressured by Anthony Simmons. Tyler had to let go of that one a little earlier than he wanted.
He had 2 people wide open, but once again, the pressure is right in his face. LaFleur, man for man on the other side, is open. You can see they're coming with 7 right up the middle. Tyler has to get rid of it before he wants to. Simmons right in his face.
When you look at the numbers on him, they're just amazing. He already, this is sophomore, already has more tackles than either of the Perrys, Refrigerator or Michael Dean or Terry Kennard or Levon Kirkland had in their entire Clemson career. Double-figure tackles all but 3 games in his 2 years. Tyler on a roll, fires, and dropped in the back of the end zone by LaFleur.
Here's what happens, Dave. You're a receiver. You know where you are. You're wide open. You've got a touchdown. And so instead of just making the catch, you ease into it. Watch as he slides backwards. He's easing into it. He knows he's wide open. He just slides. He's making it too easy. And as a result, he doesn't brace himself. He doesn't steel himself against the catch, and it slips right through his hand. Tyler's going, oh, come on. I did everything but put it between the 4 and the 7. Come on, man. I scrambled, got away. Wow. Tough break.
Tyler might have scored if he kept it, but he made the right decision. 40-yarder by Ritchie is blocked. Picked up by the holder, Casey Tabor, but Clemson takes over, still trailing by just 3.
Watching Ritchie in the warm-up, it was clear he had a tremendous leg. He was kicking balls beyond 50 yards. But the one thing when you have the great legs sometimes is you have the low trajectory. Take a look right in the middle. Snap is good. Takes his time. Just a jailbreak in that case. I believe that was Price that got his right arm on it. In fact, he got in so quickly that it was the arm farthest from the kick that ended up blocking it. Poor protection on the part of the offensive line for LSU on that play.
Price, who forced the fumble that was recovered by Harold Means, leading to the Clemson score by Green in the first half. Comes up with another big one. Priester cuts back. Boy, a very Raymond Priester-like run that time, not taking no for an answer.
Again, Jerry DiNardo talks about the fact that as you see Trevor Price catching his wind once again after a big play, Priester is somebody that just doesn't go down through arm tackles. He said at halftime that he was frustrated by the poor tackling of his defense, but again, this is a 230-pounder that's rushed. It's the all-time leading rusher for the club, so it's not as if he's some stiff that can only go as one-dimensional. He's a tough guy.
Defense resting, hoping the offense can do something with the block. First man through is the fullback, Emery Smith. And they'll mark him right at midfield. A couple of yards shy of the marker. Rayon Hill made the tackle on Emery Smith. Another one of the Clemson Tigers who got his degree recently to match the one that Emmett got not long ago. Emmett, though, had to work overtime for his work because he left the University of Florida early, but kept his promise to his family. memory on time graduating at Clemson. There's LaFleur alone with his thoughts.
Still shaking his head.
Thinking it should be 17-7. But instead, Emery Smith drives for a first down at the LSU 45.
And needless to say, the momentum has shifted.
They again have the good fortune of driving toward their own fans. Might be a whole different story if they're heading into the LSU end zone. Let's see if purple and gold on the other side. 25,000 plus made it down from Clemson. Priester, who says, my style amounts to trying to get north-south as soon as possible. I'm not the fastest guy, and I don't pretend to be. And the other thing is he's got a great knack, and he showed it there, falling forward, which gets you an extra yard or two anytime you can do it successfully.
Well, while Priester has been effective, that also means that his offensive line is beginning to assert itself. You mentioned Bundren, who has started every game for the last 3 years. Roundtree is another one that he gives a lot of credit to at guard. Trimble doing an outstanding job, as well as Zane Lewis at the left guard. So, front five for the Orangemen are doing the job.
Body leaned by Priester. Got him 4 instead of maybe 2. 2nd and 6. Incomplete. Good call for Woods. Just as well that he let that one go.
After Woods, excuse me, I was going to say after Woods on the first series made the corner route catch, he has struggled since then to get involved in the offense.
That is still his only catch. Brooks, their leading receiver, has been shut out so far.
Well, half the passing yardage that they have, Clemson only has 39 yards, was on that one catch.
4 wide this time. And Elon Green in the shotgun with Priester to his left on a 3rd and 6. Incomplete over the middle, again intended for Joe Woods.
And Woods stopped and almost cost him an interception. You've got to keep running on that route. Take a look, he's running on a crossing route, and he knows that he's going to get hit. Of course, there's going to be a crowd in the middle. Watch him just abruptly stop when he feels the white shirt. Now, you stop like that, and you can cost an interception. In that case, number 21 for LSU, Rayon Hill, had an opportunity if he'd been looking up for a pick.
A busy day for Laird, having to deal with that man, Falk, standing at his 10. Again, hangs it high enough to force the fair catch. 31-yarder. 4 punts, though, by Laird inside the 20, so he has done his job on those. 10-7, LSU.
Now, let me get this straight. What you're saying is all those Delta Sky miles I'm accumulating
Will never expire. Just fly with us once every 3 years.
So 10 years from now, you're still good. Half a century passes.
Still good.
Oh, I'm 104 and I need a vacation.
Have you flown with us once every 3 years?
Absolutely.
Hawaii's nice.
More boombox for your buck. Circuit City. You can't find a lower price. We guarantee it.
Bullwinkle, we passed by here an hour ago.
We're here. I thought we were there.
Bullwinkle.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's enough TV for today.
Dad!
Let's go for a ride.
Yeah, come on, we're out of here. Dad, where are we going? Better be good. We gotta go to the bathroom, honey. See that? See? That's cool.
When we gotta be there.
Stop, wait! Dad, can we take him home?
Ford Explorer, because the world's too big to be left unexplored.
We're there.
14 rolls, and it wasn't a draw, but he's going to keep. And he may score. One man to beat. Antoine Edwards drives him out right at about the first Tyler providing us a no-fear moment in the first half, setting up a score for LSU. They still lead 10-7 as they start from their own 10-yard line. Edwards creeping up, showing blitz. Frazier across in motion. Gets to the lone setback. Falk, who has not had much room. Settles for 1, maybe 2 here. Averages 3 yards per carry in the first half. 5+ per carry during the regular season.
Everybody always talks about running to set up the pass, but I think in LSU's case, they need to go the other direction. They've had receivers wide open, and of course, in the last series, they had a number of receivers running free in the secondary, even though they couldn't come up with the catches. I think that they need to adjust themselves offensively and throw the ball a little bit more, because that's what's been effective against this Clemson defense.
Timeout called by Clemson just as LSU came to the line. 7:09 to go, third quarter. LSU will look at a 2nd and 8 when we come back.
So you're building that deck with Time Life to help you along. You might want to add some built-in benches. Page 50. How about a brick patio? Guaranteed weed-proof. And a lot easier on your checkbook than some contractor would be.
Now with Home Repair, you get 2 books for $2. Order decks, porches, and patios for just $1.99 and get kitchens free.
Those new countertops sure look good, and doing it yourself probably saved a bundle. So you could do that built-in recycling bin she wanted. Step by step, Time Life makes it easy.
With Home Repair, you get professional results at do-it-yourself prices. Use your credit card to order decks for just $1.99 and get kitchens free.
Home Repair makes you a real hero around the house. So why don't you give them a call? They'd probably love to hear from you.
Call 1-800-764-8585 to get 2 books for only $2. Use your credit card to order decks, porches, and patios, and you'll get kitchens free. Or send check or money order for $1.99 plus $3.95 shipping to the address on your screen.
Excuse me, think your disposable razor shaves as comfortably as his Gillette Sensor XL? Yeah, well, try Sensor XL. It'll change your mind. After one shave with Sensor XL, we bet you don't go back. Because only Sensor XL has protective microfins for extra comfort. Wow. And self-adjusting blades for extra closeness. Disposables don't. And Sensor XL gives more shaves per blade than any disposable.
Excuse me.
Take the Sensor XL challenge. Bet you don't go back to disposables.
Hey, I want my Sensor XL back. Hey, hey! Well, Clemson trails, but Trevor Price has shown tonight why he made first-team All-ACC, even though he missed 2 games during the regular season. First half, blindsides. Tyler forces the fumble. Harold Means recovers at the 10 for Clemson. They go on to score and lead 7-0 on a green keeper. And early here in the third quarter, the first block hit all year by Clemson, and Price turns it in on a 40-yard effort by Wade Ritchie. Last year, they blocked 8 kicks, but until now, a moment ago, they've been shut out in the block kick department all 1996. 2nd down and 8, LSU. 3 receivers right side of the formation. They bring Foster back left in motion. And give it to Kevin Falk. Squeezes off left tackle, and maybe gets 2 more to the 14.
Don't want to take any chances this close to their goal line. So they want to get in a rhythm with Falk and get their offensive line going. Kevin Falk, no relation to the more famous Falk of the Indianapolis Colts named Marshall.
Good that you point that out, because probably a lot of people assume that there is a relation being both from Louisiana. Marshall, though, from New Orleans, and Kevin from Heron Grove, Louisiana.
How many times a week he has to say, no, we're not related.
Not the second coming of Marshall, and the first Kevin Falk. Now LSU will burn a timeout. On the same series, 1 each. 6:24 to go, third quarter. 3rd down and 6 coming. Now let's keep it here. Better yet. LSU in the first Peach Bowl back in 1968, a win 31-27 over Florida State. Clemson in its 3rd Peach appearance, 1-1 so far. They've they've had the better success overall in the postseason. Clemson 12-8 coming in, and LSU 12-16-1. But they're happy just to be back in the postseason for the second straight year. DiNardo followed 6 consecutive losing seasons with a victory over Michigan State in the Independence last year. And a move to the Peach and a 3-point third quarter lead this year. He thinks next year is the year where the expectation level really starts to grow, and in the SEC West, where they tied for first at 6-2 with Alabama, he figures it probably will be right up there, picked maybe to win the West, be in the SEC title game, which will be right back here in the Georgia Dome, and perhaps make it to a New Year's Day Bowl in his third year. Be a nice progression. Done an outstanding job, just his 6th year overall as a head coach. Left Vanderbilt with some hard feelings. Still some negotiating going on over a contractual buyout with Vandy. Tyler steps up and peaks and has the first down and a lot more. We talked all night about Falk, but there has been the best weapon LSU's had on the field tonight, Herb Tyler.
What's surprising here is at the end of the play, normally, of course, in college, you don't see quarterbacks protecting themselves all that much. As the nimble feet breaks out of the pocket and escapes, and now there's nothing but astroturf because everybody has their backs turned. I really think that right there, you know, he had a blocker. If he'd have turned upfield, he might have had about 15 or 20 more yards, but opting to protect himself, he gets out of bounds, even though he has the first.
We are at the Georgia Dome, the 29th Peach Bowl. Dave Barnett, Todd Christensen, and Pam Ward. 22-yarder by Tyler. 9 carries for 43 yards tonight. LaFleur hangs on to this one. Got another LSU first down, busts through a couple of tackles, reaches the Clemson 46. 17 on the hookup between Tyler and LaFleur.
I'd say he did that with a vengeance. Watch after he makes this catch. He has no intention at all of going out of bounds. It's the misdirection fake. Clemson buys it, comes back. Now watch, he has no intention of turning going out of bounds. Right now, here I come, ready or not. Just buries his head and gets the extra yardage. Now, one thing to point out here is he was the leading receiver for LSU, but he only had 30 catches on the season. You don't have to be a mathematician to pick out. That's only 3 a game. So he was underutilized, in my opinion.
Simmons, you could say, read the play well. Just about the same instant Falk gets the handoff, Anthony Simmons is draped all over.
Once again, a slow developing play that allowed Simmons to run behind the guard and nail Falk in the backfield.
Falk will get a breather and be replaced by Mealy after a loss of 7. Simmons averaged 15 tackles a game to lead the ACC, 17 more than the runner-up, who is Keith Brooking of Georgia Tech. Pretty good demonstration wide tonight. Tyler deep for LaFleur. And no flag. They're going to say incidental contact and no interference on Andre Carter.
Jerry DiNardo came all the way up the sideline to point out, I don't think so. What ended up happening is actually this is good coverage, but the feet are going to get tangled up. Watch right here at the end, the feet get tangled up. Andre Carter right there, he just kicks his foot. That's a good non-call by the official. And even if he makes the catch, you can see it's on the white stripe. Good job of keeping the flag in the pocket.
Moore taking a blow on 3rd and 17. Wrestling match going on, and it's broken up by McLeon, or will they call this a fumble? It was Nemesis Bates wrestling with McLeon. I really thought they might just say incompletion because it didn't look like anybody had possession. Ortolan finally jumped on it for LSU. There's an injured Clemson Tiger.
And that was a serious collision there. Number 12, DeMarco Fox. Boy, he absolutely gets whacked because once the ball comes out, you can see high speed everybody going after that football. Of course, they're fighting for possession here. Is it dual possession, or what's the situation? Is the catch made on the part of Bates? Right there, evidently the officials decided that they did. McLean able to strip it from him. Watch the collision. Ouch. You can see right there. Those are bigger bodies that Fox goes after, 183 pounds. About 100 pounds less than the man that recovered the fumble.
Marco Fox is a true freshman from Philadelphia, Mississippi. He's been a great special teams tackler for them this year. Now here's Bordelon coming along 293. Fox listed at 172. Loses that battle. Ouch.
Actually, in a way, he did it a little bit to himself. You can see right there, face first into the shoulder pad of Bordelon.
Sir Tommy West as Fox is helped to his feet. From the 45, it will be 4th and 9, and it will be Kessler on the punt and try and pin McLeon back inside his 10 if he can. Nope, a little bit too much on this one. 45-yarder, but a touchback and a net of 25. There have been a couple instances in this third quarter, Ty, where it really looked like it was about to take off again, like it did after the first turnover in the first half. But the defenses have, in every case, stiffened, and the big play remains the drop by LaFleur in the back of the end zone.
Well, one thing that we haven't pointed out here, which is painfully obvious, I'm guessing, to our audience, is the fact that this has been a very physical football game. People are flying all over the place and hitting one another. And while we anticipated that was the way it was going to be, we certainly wouldn't have anticipated those graphics in terms of the numbers.
With turn in for the first catch tonight by Kenya Crooks. And the Clemson crowd trying to get into it. Thrifty Car Rental Bowl week continues tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's the Builders Square Alamo Bowl from San Antonio. Iowa taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the nation's second leading rusher, Byron Hanspar. Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried will be along from the Alamo Dome for that one. Should be entertaining. Hayden Fry and Spike Dykes always make it so. Spinning forward is Smith and should have the first just across the 30.
Looked like McFarland had him in the backfield, but could hard tackle the 240-pounder, and Smith able to get ahead for the first down.
Boy, you're right. There has been some head busting out there. I mean, 4 or 5 guys have had to be helped off or have limped off.
And there have been I haven't counted all of them, but I know that there's at least 3 times that I've seen in pileups helmets pop out, which is also indicative of the fact that people are having collisions, not contact.
1st and 10. Raymond Priester runs right into Greg Hill. Just doesn't want to go down. Yeah, a very typical run by Priester. Who earlier tonight became the all-time leading rusher in Clemson history with 1 year to go out of little Allendale, South Carolina.
One of the things that LSU is doing now is that earlier in the game they had their 2 safeties and a 2 deep. And what that means is that you can't come up with 8 in the box. What LSU has been doing now over the last quarter is they're forcing the safety to come up knowing that he's not blocked and putting the pressure on Nealon Green to make a throw, and thus far has been effective.
2nd and 9 with Crooks wide right. Switch to the left, option pitch, Priester. Across the 40, going to be 3rd and short, maybe 1 or 2. The tackle by Rogers. Let's get an update on DeMarco Fox from Penn.
All right, Dave, they've checked him over, and right now the diagnosis is a pinched nerve in his neck. He has some ice on the back of the neck. They were trying to flex his hand to try to get some feeling back in that. It's questionable right now as to whether he will return. The trainer says for right now he's definitely out of the game. We'll update you later. Dave?
All right, thanks, man. Did you ever have one of those pinched nerve?
Yeah. Yeah, it's no fun, but it does go away.
That's the good news. 3rd and 1. Priester may not have it. I'm not sure he got there before Rogers met him. He needed to get right at the 42, maybe an inch or two beyond it. I think they're going to mark him an inch or two shy of.
Well, he needed to get beyond the 42, and the ball's not even marked at the 42, so I believe you're right.
And Rogers has had a good evening.
He has. I'm surprised at how effectively LSU has played. You know, it was documented early in the game, the big games that tailbacks had against them.
Well, they improved the spot a little bit, and it is first down Clemson.
I was about to say, even though Priester is over 100 yards, the point is that the score is 10-7. And getting the yards between the 30s is not the same as pay dirt, needless to say.
Another record is 12th career 100-plus game. LSU defense this year in the losses gave up big yards on the ground. 351 rush yards to Alabama, 308 to Florida. Even in a win late in the season, allowed Tulane 220 yards. Donegan in at fullback as the flag flies. He's brought down by Anthony McFarland. Donegan, the second leading rusher for Clemson this year, 368, average of 5 per carry. This will be holding Clemson.
Obviously, holding is always a deterrent, but one of the situations here, the way Clemson has been moving the ball in 4- and 6-yard chunks, doubly so because they're not inclined to get, you know, the 10- and 12-yard gains.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Watch number 75 right here. Bit of a takedown, although that's one that you probably could have let go. Roundtree is the one who's guilty. Every time they see that hand on the shoulder pad, it seems sometimes it's automatic with some officials.
And Roundtree All-American, as designated by Successful Farming magazine. Didn't know there was such a thing, did you?
Oh, I didn't know you had a subscription.
It was in the last issue. Donegan, another carry. That's for guys who grew up on family farms, as Roundtree did in Suffolk, Virginia. He is an agronomy major. In fact, he worked on Danny Ford's farm right there outside Clemson.
In what capacity?
Just an all-around helper.
Post hole guy, fence guy?
Whatever you needed, he'd do.
Buck and Bronco guy?
He'd slop your hogs. He'd get your eggs collected. He'd milk your cows if you had to. Twice an All-American. 2nd and 18, Green from the shotgun. And again, breaking off the pattern was Kenya Cook. That's the second time we've seen that tonight. Mal Lawyer was in the area, but I'm not sure he was the intended receiver.
LSU came with 6 that time when we're right in Green's face, and I think that he was just content to get rid of that one. Tommy West not happy with it, but again, that was the pass rush by LSU that forced that throw. I would think here's a situation where if LSU is going to come with 5 or 6 again, you might want to go with a screen pass. Get the ball in the hands of one of your runners, get 8-10 yards, put yourself in a better position to punt.
4 wideouts. Lawyer stays in. He's joined by Brian Walker, who goes wide left. Green chased and dropped by Charles Smith, the middle linebacker.
This is a great job by Smith. He's going to hesitate and then come right here. He actually waits, and as soon as the running back leaves, the running back is the one who's responsible for coverage. Smith dekes him by not coming immediately, and then when he comes later, there's nobody to get him, and he nails Green for a loss.
Loss of 8 to bring up 4th and 26, and another Kevin Laird punt. Time expires in the 3rd quarter before they can snap it to Laird, so 15 minutes to go in the 96 Peach Bowl. 10-7 LSU.
You know, you needed to...
If your tools are looking a little more rusty than trusty, turn to the folks in the red vest, because they've got a wide variety, including Ace brand hand tools, built tough with a lifetime warranty. That's what makes Ace the place, with a helpful hardware pulse.
What's Up is
It's the wide open spaces of the world's only standard third door. What Tough does. What Tough is. It's the biggest box and the highest maximum V8 payload. What Tough does. Tough is what Tough does. The new Ford F-150, Motor Trend Truck of the Year, built Ford Tough.
I love this wintry time of year when we all put on our favorite top hat and smile.
We are the animals of the North Pole. We wear top hats because it's cold. We like snowmen because they're nice.
What the hell? No!
The Winter X Games are coming to town, presented by Pringles.
Chemistry is the practice of magic. People think of Teflon and they think of frying pans. Teflon is not one thing. Teflon is a chain lube. This is something I've come up with for bicycles. You know, only DuPont makes Teflon. You can use it in satellites, on fabrics, or leather. When's the last time you heard about a leather raincoat? You can let your imagination run wild. It's not often that you get to make something new in this world.
Better things for better living.
DuPont. If you're busy, and who isn't these days, you don't have time to fool with brake repairs. So at Midas, we give your brakes a thorough inspection and explain your options. It's the Midas way. A better system for you and your car.
Back in the Georgia Dome in Atlanta for the Peach Bowl, fourth quarter. Dave Barnett, Todd Christensen, and Pam Ward. LSU with a 10-7 lead. Green's touchdown, the only scoring in the first. LSU got a Falk touchdown, a Richie field goal to lead 10-7 at the half. That's where we still are as Anthony McFarland gets some quick stitch work on the LSU bench. Luckily, it's only his jersey being sewn up. Now the punt by Laird with Falk waiting at his 35 on a 4th and 26.
He let the clock run out, of course, so he could kick with the wind. Good decision by Laird.
He didn't get it high enough to take advantage, though. Falk lets this one roll, and roll it does. All the way to the 12-yard line. That is a season-best 62-yarder. ABC Sports presenting the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl, 4:30 New Year's Day, Arizona State and Ohio State, as the Sun Devils hope to wrap up a perfect year. And then January 2nd, join ABC down to the Bayou. It's the Sugar Bowl, the Sunshine State rematch between the Seminoles and the Gators, as Florida State hopes to wrap up its second national championship. That would be a team as good as Florida twice, though. That's twice in a row. So LSU backed up a bit. Savoy across in motion. Tyler off the play fake. And another drop by LaFleur.
Ball was a little bit low that time. It was a catchable ball. Nonetheless, that's got to be. It has to affect his confidence. Wide open in the flat, make the adjustment, come back, goes right through his hands, hits him in the shin.
Well, both LaFleur and DiNardo still have to have burned in their mind that image of the wide open LaFleur in the back of the end zone in the third quarter. Had it flying right through his hands. Hope they'd have a much more comfortable 10-point lead. Instead, they're backed up leading by just 3, but they call on number 3. Falk with a flag down has about 13 yards of the first down at completion stand.
It's going to come back, holding by the wide receiver. Tyrone Frazier just had a death lock on the cornerback, and it's going to come back.
Clemson's had a pretty good lock on Mr. Falk. As you see the holding, 19 official carries for him tonight. 7 have been for no yardage or lost yardage. So this one will just add to the frustration. He's seen Priester go for 109 yards on an equal amount of carries. He has less than half that total, 47, but he does have a touchdown. This will back him up to the 7. Clemson, dating back years and years, has based its whole approach on 2 things: winning the running game comparison, winning the turnover comparison. Great spot for a takeaway here if they can manage it. Tyler throwing from his own end zone. It will be overthrown, intended for Frazier. Good coverage by Dexter McCleon.
That was a youngster just getting rid of it. He just arched the ball up in the air and hoped for the best. Didn't give his receiver a chance. You can see him right there shaking his head. A little disappointed himself.
Well, Clemson has outrushed LSU tonight. The turnovers are even. One apiece, but no comparison at quarterback. Kyler's number is much better than Green's 5 of 16. Big third down here, though. Stay conservative, give it to Falk. He has a little room off the right side. Now chased down and dropped at the 14-yard line by Brett Williams.
And Dave, that 62-yard punt by Laird now looms very large. Falk just goes off tackle trying to get whatever yardage he can to create a gap for his punter. He gets off tackle, and why he would stop, I'm not sure. Should have just kept going, because those are the sorts of hits by Williams there that can cause fumbles.
Looked like he just wanted to make a move on Andy Ford, 43, rather than just race past him. So Kessler kicking from his goal line. And Clemson sets up for a return. Great kick. McCleon. And the first man missed. Into LSU territory. Fumbles, but gets it back at the 43. Breathe again.
Interesting combination of events. The 2 people he makes miss. Take a look at the sprinters. They just run right past him. Able to get to the outside. Now McCleon cuts upfield, loses the ball. Right there is the strip. And paying attention, get right on top of it.
47-yard kick. McCleon brings it back 18, and Clemson's in great shape.
My, it's bright out there, which means we've landed at Delta's Frankfurt terminal, one of the brightest terminals in the world. When I say bright, I don't mean lighting, I mean the Delta Redcoats.
This way on the left-hand side. Nach links kommt zum GTD 1.
Excuse me, currency exchange? Excuse me, where's the bathroom, please?
See the little man on the door over there?
These Delta Redcoats know everything. Excuse me, low-fat Wiener Schnitzel?
Third restaurant down the hall.
Is it brilliant in here or what?
The golden age of small business has arrived, and with it, the Gold Corporate Optima card, new from American Express. It allows you to extend payments to manage your cash flow with a low introductory APR of 8.9% and a credit line of up to $20,000, all with no annual fee. It's the perfect match for today's small businesses. The Gold Corporate Optima card for the golden road to your success.
There's nobody flying this plane. It's not gonna land.
She got a fire.
Honey, come out and play.
He's a killer.
And I'm smarter than you.
Honeycomb.
You gotta love her. No! Is this amazing or what?
We can't just let it crash.
This is bad.
Turbulence.
Miss, let's delay our flight.
Rated R.
Starts Friday, January 10th.
ESPN's presentation
edition of the Peach Bowl is brought to you by Delta Airlines, proud sponsor of the 1996 Peach Bowl. Last year, more people flew Delta than any other airline in the world. You'll love the way we fly. And by American Express and the Charge Against Hunger program. It's another way American Express helps you do more.
After the punt return by McCleon of 18 yards, Clemson ball trailing by 3 at the LSU 43. Flags and the LSU defensive line pointing across the line.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Boy, so right away you squander some of that great field position.
Well, plus the fact that, as we commented to, this offense is constructed for 10-yard increments. This isn't a big play offense.
Not much harder now, back up to the 48, needing 15. Smith and Priester in the eye. Gives to Emery Smith, and maybe they'll give him a foot or two. Got tangled up with Charles Smith. Anthony McFarland also making some contact with the freshly stitched jersey.
One of the things the interior of LSU has done is they've adjusted. Remember in the third quarter, Emery Smith had a number of pretty big runs out of that particular play, but they've seen it enough now. They're not buying into the trap move.
Officially one for Smith. I'll tell you the reason why Clemson emphasizes those two aspects of the game we talked about a little while ago, the running comparison and the turnover comparison. It's pretty obvious when you see the results. They run the reverse for Brian Wofford, two-time 400-meter state champ from Spartanburg. Well read, though. Rogers was there along with Denard Walker, Rayon Hill. Short game.
Rogers and Hill did a great job of staying at home. The defensive end, in this case, Mike Sutton, was completely fooled. He had bought into the play fake. But staying at home held them to only a 4-yard gain, and now they're going to come up with 3rd and a long 9.
Well, they've done some research, and they go back to 1977, and when Clemson has won those two statistical battles, the turnovers, the running, they are 106, 6, and 2. They win 94% of the time over the last 20 years. When they take care of those aspects of the game. 3rd and 9 on the ground. Priester runs right over Greg Hill, but is going to be 3 yards short of the first down marker. Finally catching up to him was Alan Stansbury.
This is going to be interesting here because this is that kind of no man's land there at the 37-yard line. Closer to 4 yards. I'm guessing that they're going to punt. And they are. They did a good job last time of pinning LSU deep in their territory. But let's give LSU's defense here credit. And again, come back to the fact, Dave, that penalties have been so costly. That initial penalty, 5 yards. Without that now, obviously, they have the first down. Instead, now, evidently, they're going to bleed the clock and give the punter another 5 yards to work with.
Play clock you see winding down, and they will kick it from the 42-yard line rather than the 37. Laird has been pretty good at his specialty, killing it inside the 20-yard line. He's been able to do it on 5 of his 8 punts tonight.
Now, I think I mentioned this to you once before, a conversation I had with Sean Landetta, the punter of the Rams, about the idea that everybody thinks that they need the extra yards. He said, no, it's like shooting basketball. It's like a 15-yard jump shot versus a 20.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, refuse, 4th down.
So they just did him a favor by refusing the penalty then, huh?
Well, exactly, because Landetta was making the point that it was a lot easier to angle it out if it was closer. Now, what I find entertaining here is that they refuse the penalty, and now Clemson goes for it or goes with a fake punt.
That would be entertaining.
Catch people off guard.
Clock's at his 10. But alas, no fake punt. Great job of hanging it up, though, and right where he anticipated the punt is where Falk makes the fair catch. So LSU ball with 11:41 to go. Still 10-7 when we return.
Once a single library held the knowledge of the world. Centuries later, data was still controlled by an elite few. Then Oracle freed everyone to work with databases. Today, Oracle is putting the knowledge of the world online.
It will forever change our markets and our culture.
Where do you learn about companies whose future is as limitless as our hunger to know? Exactly. NASDAQ.com.
It's the perfect landing. It's another business day. It's friendly blue waiting there for you. It's traveling your way.
Call today. For just $46.95 a day, you can rent a Dodge Caravan or similar vehicle from Thrifty.
Best of all, it's thrifty. Renting cars with five worldwide.
You know, racing for interstate means my battery has enough power to run my car, as well as some other race necessities, like this mini fridge, my foot massager. Heck, I even had a big screen put in for my friends.
Got tough heartburn and pain? Nothing else. No caplet, no liquid, has Alka-Seltzer's effervescent power, plus the medicine for your worst symptoms. Alka-Seltzer, the best medicine for heartburn and pain.
Back at the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Dave Barnett, Todd Christensen, Pam Ward. Just as soon as we're done, and we have 11:41 to go in the Ford Sports Center. We'll follow immediately with Steve Levy and Linda Cohn. That's coming up next. Herb Tyler backed up at his 10 with a 10-7 lead. Then Frazier slot left. Foster wide left. Somebody just threw a rubber football on the field from the end zone stands. It briefly was in the field to play. Now it's been taken away.
An object was thrown on the field, so we call timeout.
Official timeout. The alert security gentleman down there pounced right on it and wrestled it to the turf, so it should no longer be a factor. Tyler, nice catch by Tyrone Frazier of an underthrown ball, just like the one the floor dropped last series. Antoine Edwards driving him out after a 9-yard pickup.
What's impressive about that catch in particular is not just that he came over the ball, but he was able to keep going. Those are the kind of balls that you end up sliding for to make sure of the catch, to get down and get underneath it. Frazier showing some good hands and the ability to keep his feet moving and get some extra yardage.
LaFleur, one of two tight end sets, as Kendall Cleveland gets the call, and all the way to the 26 for the first. Another tackle by Edwards. Cleveland, sophomore from Orange, Texas. Used to be the number 2 back. Mealy is going to replace him in that capacity this year. Last year was Falk's number 1 backup. And checks out as Falk returns to the hunt.
It's a great name for a football player, though. I just like Kendall Cleveland. Sounds like somebody.
Especially if that city still had a team, it'd be a perfect candidate to be drafted. Falk. Cut back. Edwards making his 3rd tackle in a row after a gain of 5 to the 31.
Needless to say, this is what LSU wants to do. Take off the 5-6 yard chunks, take some time off the clock, and see if their offensive line can be as assertive as it was in the 2nd quarter.
Edwards earning a breather. He's out, replaced by Andre Carter. And 2nd and 4. So LSU, which began at their own 10, nice job gouging it out, giving themselves some breathing room and milking the clock, now under the 10-minute mark. As Price makes the tackle.
One of the impressive things about Price is that inevitably when you get the reputation of being a pass rush specialist, even if you are good against the run, people don't think you are, because they just say, oh, he's a pass rush guy. This guy plays the whole game. Blocks kicks, stops the run, rushes the passer, pursues. Everything they say about him is true. He's legit.
Turned in for Tommy West, the only block kick of the year by Clemson earlier. This is a big 3rd and 3. Tyler caught somehow by Frazier, but not for the first down. McLeon pounces right on Tyrone Frazier, but a circus catch turned in.
It was a terrific catch, but again, the receivers, it's been said over and over again, you got to know where the stick is. And that ended up being a 3-yard route. All he had to do was get 5 yards downfield and get the first down, and that would have been basically the same throw, but instead he's a little bit short. And even though he makes a terrific catch, McLeon plants him short of the first down.
So Kessler to punt. Woods is deep. Frazier left baseball. McLeon gave it up this year to concentrate strictly on football. Great kick. Woods unable to reverse field, and he is dropped at the 9-yard line.
Chris Cummings reminds me a little bit of Michael Bates for Carolina, converted track man, or so to speak, but he's one that's pretty physical for a track man. You usually don't see that. A great punt for LSU, and the coverage is outstanding. Now the bad field position is Clemson's.
Duplessis Cadillac is having a huge end-of-the-year Cadillac blowout. All 1996 Cadillacs are being offered at special prices. We have 1996 Eldorado starting as low as $34,900. Save up to $10,000 on all 96 Eldorado Touring Coupes and 1996 Seville FTS Cadillacs. As always, there's several financing options available to suit your needs. For quality, customer satisfaction, and incredible savings, come to the 1996 blowout at Duplessis Cadillac.
Credit merchandise, rent-to-own. It's as good as yours.
Rent-to-own and credit merchandise for the absolute lowest rental prices. Living room sets starting at only $39 a month. Bedroom sets starting at only $39 a month. Credit merchandise, rent-to-own is a complete line of appliances. And we also have television sets with remotes, only $29 a month. And credit merchandise, get a free pager with any rental.
Appliances and more. Credit merchandise, rent-to-own. It's as good as yours.
Her father developed a love of highlight films that can only be described as intense.
When a special moment in sports happens and you capture it on film, it slowly becomes a part of you, a part of your soul.
Beginning December 29th, watch SportsCenter and see the best sports moments of '96. Cast your vote for the athlete or performance you feel deserves a Fan's Choice ESPY. Watch SportsCenter or vote on ESPN Net Sports Zone for the '97 ESPY Awards on ESPN.
Clemson's strategy of playing field position does not work. They had LSU backed up to their 10, and with a little bit of a drive and a 54-yard punt, Tigers of Clemson now find themselves back up at their own 10. They've been outgained in the second half, 132-40 by LSU. And they're 90 yards away, trailing by 3. Nice chunk here on the toss to Smith to the 28. 18 yards. Smith, if he makes it to the next level, that ability, catching it out of the backfield, will come in handy.
Here comes the misdirection. Going to go this way on the misdirection. Fullback comes underneath in the flat, and there's no coverage. Here he comes, runs right past the linebacker, and he's wide open. And needless to say, when he squares those 240 pounds upfield, he's going to make some people collide with him and get the extra yardage.
Family resemblance there. Emery out, replaced by Dunnigan. As Priester is gained tackled and moves and piled forward 5 yards. Mercy to the 41. He got 13 yards, and the last 5 came with about a half ton weighing down on it.
Right about the time that he hits the 40-yard line, you're saying to yourself that he's just going to go down. The words of Dylan, evidently he opted to rage against the dying of the light. Here he comes for an extra 4 yards, and of course he's got some help from his friends pushing him forward. But that, you know what, that's a penalty that rarely, if ever, is called. He has all those orange-shirted people pushing him forward for additional yardage.
Right, it is in the rule book. Can't help a runner. 127 and counting for Priester. Batted down. Intended for Crooks. And Big Arnold Miller went up and got it. It'll be second and 10. His specialty has been blocking kicks, not passes. He's got 3 block kicks this year, a PAT and a field goal in a 4-point win over Auburn. They were the difference in blocking PAT against Alabama.
It's the one disadvantage, of course. There are a lot of quarterbacks that have been affected. There's shorter people, Tommy Frazier, Doug Flutie come to mind, but the one downside is when you're in the pocket. You have to get knocked down.
Here comes Priester left side and drags Mike Sutton forward. Here the marker. They're going to mark him a little bit shy of midfield, and he needed the LSU 49 for the first.
After the way they've been running the ball, you think that this is going to be a given on third down. Priester coming left. Watch where the contact is made. Watch the additional yardage that he gets. There's the contact made and drags him an additional 5 yards. That's what makes Priester special. You called it earlier, Dave, in terms of his ability to go north and south. He understands his limitations, but he certainly works within those. And that's somebody that even though it's not going to show up on the stopwatch, he's somebody that can play at the next level.
Under 7 minutes. Down by 3, needing one to keep the drive going. First man through will have an easy first down gain, and it's Kelton Dunnican. Tell you what, it's fairly balanced, I guess, but right now the noise advantage clearly on the side of the Clemson Tiger fans.
Dave, I think there's a fatigue factor setting in for the LSU defense.
Green play action, nowhere to go. Couldn't avoid the sack. He's run down by McFarland. Second team All-SEC selection, Anthony McFarland with a big sack.
Green has been able to scramble his way out of these before, but the play really is made by number 93, Theo Williams, who stays at home and forces Green to not be able to get outside of the contain, and as a result, McFarland able to run him down from behind. Williams doesn't get the credit, but he's the man that made the play.
Ends up a loss of 6, second and 16 back in their own end of the field. All the points have been scored at the other end zone, the one that Clemson is going away from. So they're headed toward the LSU section now. Option pick Priester with room, needs the block, gets it from Crooks, and forward to the 44. Mark Roman there with the tackle.
Nealon Green has not been terribly effective throwing the ball, but on 3rd and about 8, it would appear that it would dictate for him to go back and throw. I'm wondering here, though, Dave, with about 5:15 and the clock running, if maybe the offensive people of Clemson aren't saying to themselves, maybe this is a 4-down situation. Maybe that's the reason why they call timeout.
I would think it'd have to be a 4-down situation, and they burned their second timeout with 5:13 to go. 3rd and 7 when we come back.
Where does Napa keep over 200,000 different parts? Right up here. Now remember, your belt tension on this is critical. What kind of car is it? Well, I'll sell you all the struts you want, but I wouldn't recommend putting them in without the right tools.
I'm sure we have it.
Okay, is it a 77 or a 78? Because they changed the carburetor in 78.
Actually, that's not a stupid question at all.
I know what it used to be. You don't stay at Napa long handing out the wrong answers, and I'm not planning on going anywhere.
America running.
It's all in how you use it.
The ocean, the source of life on planet Earth. Get ready to own it. Battleship CD-ROM. It's all-out sink-or-swim naval strategy. High-res 3D graphics, 16-bit audio effects, and nerve-wracking real-time battle. You're being attacked while you're attacking. Fight above and below the water in 2,000 square miles of ocean. Even battle around the globe, on land or modem to modem. You can rule the high seas, or you might end up treading water. Battleship on CD-ROM. If you can't stand the heat, get out of the ocean.
5:13 to go, and a big 3rd and 7 coming up for Clemson immediately following the Peach Bowl tonight. Linda Cohn and Steve Levy in Sports Center. They'll look at the wild card matchups, the victories by Jacksonville and Dallas earlier today, the Bulls rebound, and Kentucky highlights. Line to gain just outside the LSU 36. Brooks and Woods come wide left. And they stay in the eye and pitch it to Priester, who is caught and looked immediately to pitch it back to Green, but he couldn't get away from Cedric Donaldson. A very conservative call, even if you are in 4-down territory. They lose 2.
Part of the problem is you don't throw to your tight end is that they have no respect on that side of the ball. Donaldson at strong safety just says there's no way I have to cover this tight end. They're not going to throw to him, so he just comes in the blitz, nails Priester.
And it's no longer 4-down territory as Laird comes on and tries to do it one more time. He's done 6 out of 9 successfully inside the 20. Falk should have let that one go. He muffed it and returns it from the 1 to the 10. I think if he lets that go, it's a touchback. Looked like it was a little bit overkicked by Laird, and they will mark him at the 1.
That's the right decision. It was a muff.
Muff and not a fumble. He never had control.
And you're absolutely right. Right there, as soon as he backs up, he should be standing at about the 10-yard line to begin with. And once the ball is over your head, you got to let it go. And if they down it inside the 10, you say, okay, great play, Clemson, but I made the right decision. In that case, Falk had been so conditioned to fair catching everything.
The receiver signaled for a fair catch and ran with the ball. Delay game, half the distance, first down.
Well explained by Steve Juszczyk. I think Falk, though, when he muffed it, probably the fair catch signal immediately slipped his mind, and all he was thinking is, sure, I'm on my own 1. I got to get out of here.
Exactly.
Terrible field position for the 4th drive in a row. Couldn't get any worse. Tyler sneaking forward maybe to the 2. As we near 4 minutes, remember, Clemson only 1 timeout left. LSU has 2 remaining.
Well, this is an enormous drive for LSU because not only do they want to get the first down, they want to take some time off the clock now that it's under 4 minutes.
Jared DiNardo hoping for his 2nd bowl win in as many seasons in Baton Rouge. And to end a streak of 4 straight ACC victories in the Peach Bowl. Engraved down at the moment, another sneak by Tyler, who got past the initial wall and gets 5 yards on a quarterback sneak. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's surprising, too. I guess everybody anticipated he was going to turn around and hand off, and now he comes up 3rd and 5, very makeable. And I'm thinking here that a play-action fake would be huge, especially when you got somebody as mobile as Tyler. Give LaFleur or Savoy another opportunity to get the first down in the middle of the field because they're going to go with some sort of single coverage and probably blitz.
Well, timeout has been signaled. Dexter McCleon is making his way to the bench with a limp. So it's not a charged Clemson timeout. The officials just gave him time to get clear.
But Herb Tyler needs to be aware of this because he's coming up to the line of scrimmage way too soon. He could bleed another 10 seconds off this clock. And that's what he's going to do. Heads up.
Took the snap with 5. No gain. Couldn't turn the corner. And run down by Andy Ford, the free safety, and Clemson, with 2:38 to go, forces the kick from the Tigers of LSU from their own end zone, needing just a field goal to force overtime. Plenty of time to do it when we come back to Atlanta.
U.S. gold medalist Mia Hamm spends 90 minutes destroying her hair and 90 seconds bringing it back with Pert Plus. More than a shampoo, it conditions too. How? As you shampoo, the conditioners stay suspended. As you rinse, the conditioners go to work, giving you great hair simply. Perfect for Mia, because she wants great hair, but she'd rather be living in it than working on it. Wouldn't you? Pert Plus. Simply great hair. Simply.
Corbel, for people who know champagne.
The Four Tops made their sound the Detroit sound. Then we took it all over the U.S. and around the world. If you want to reach the world, you have to know where to start.
Start with Northwest Airlines. They're the best.
Clemson out of timeouts. They stop it at 2:38, and they force Chad Kessler to punt from as far back as he can get in his own end zone. McLeon, remember, just limped off. So Joe Woods, the backup return man, is standing at his 46.
About to say, last time he came through the big one, 54-yarder, you saw his average on the night, almost 43. He's done a nice job.
Low and returnable for Woods. And the return will get him inside the 40 of LSU on a 40-yard kick and a little extracurricular after the end of the return. Cummings on the tackle. Clemson from the 39-yard line with 2:29 remaining, but no timeout.
And Cummings has done an outstanding job covering kicks, but he didn't have a lot to work with. A 40-yard kick that was about 1.8 in hang time.
Matt Padgett getting ready. His best of the year is 48. He almost forced the South Carolina game, their regular season finale, into overtime, but was just wide on the last play for Clemson. Maybe he'll get a chance for redemption. Pitch to Priester. Raymond Priester pulls ahead near the 30. Roman and Wiley on the tackle. It'll be near 2 minutes when they snap it again.
But Dave, Clemson really isn't in a hurry. And what I mean by that is that doesn't mean that they can just hang out and take their time. But they need to get in. They don't need to no huddle, and they can continue to run the ball because it is going to stop the clock when they get the first down.
Not much this time for Emery Smith.
And that's unfortunate. I think they're really counting on getting the first down there.
And they didn't even come within a yard. Smith tried to reach the ball forward, but they mark it right after 30. West about to pull his hair out. Can't believe they didn't get the first. Try it again. 3rd and 1. Whistles and flags on early movement.
Wow. Boy, is that costly. That has been the bane for Clemson all night long. Mental errors, and Tommy West has a reason to be livid.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
Take a look right here at the movement. That's number 64, Zane Lewis, who sure enough flinches. Boy, oh boy.
Sophomore left guard. Knocks him up 5. So 3rd and 6. Brooks and Wofford go wide right. Offset on. Green rolling right and fires. Had Wofford open and just overthrew him. Even with the full layout, Brian couldn't quite catch up to it. And with a minute 10 to go, 4th and 6.
Dave, they've got to go for it here. I don't think Padgett has a 52-yard leg. Rolls out, he has him open. He lays out and just can't quite come up with it. That would have been I'm really surprised at this. I know that it's indoors and I know that there are no elements, but man, asking an awful lot of a youngster.
Best of the year, 48 yards. This would be 52. Out of the hold of a man who had never held before tonight, David Richardson. As LSU calls time to make him think about it, David Richardson replacing the injured Chris Robbins, who's unavailable. He is the backup kicker. And in a new job, will have to perform it perfectly here to give Padgett any hope at all. It's got to be a perfect snap and hole for him to have any hope at hitting from this distance.
You know what happens, Dave, is that in warm-ups, as I pointed out earlier, sometimes, you know, the kickers are out there by themselves with no elements, and they're pumping through all these long kicks. It's not the same as doing it under game conditions. And you have to figure that Padgett, in this case, are they more likely to get it on 4th and 5 if they run it, or are they more likely to kick a 52-yard field goal? Personally, I think they're better off to give it a shot in terms of going for it, but they're going to give Padgett a try.
Well, they show a lot of confidence in him. Redshirt freshman from Lexington, South Carolina. Here it comes from 52 to tie it at 10. Blocked. Roman out of midair returns it to the Clemson 45.
When you have to kick the long field goal, the trajectory is low. Take a look at Padgett here, and let's see who gets it. Right in the middle, it appears that number 37 slides through. Look at the vertical. Sure enough, it is. Number 37, Aaron Adams, sophomore defensive end from Metairie, is the one who gets his arm on it. Roman gets the ball and goes upfield, but that's not the big issue right now. The big block is the play of the game for Aaron Adams.
Second straight bowl, and our NASDAQ player of the game for LSU, Herb Tyler, 14 of 21, 163 through the air, carried 12 times for 48, and Priester with the big game for Clemson, 25 for 151, 6 yards per carry. Became the all-time Clemson rushing leader tonight, but it's going to happen in defeat. And LSU will cap a 10-2 campaign.
I don't know if this is the right term for it. Call it a consolation prize, but I got to tell you, you got to give an awful lot of credit to that LSU defense that spent the bulk of the second half on the field. Had a number of situations where Clemson had field position on the other side of midfield, and they came through with some big plays.
Todd, this is the 103rd year of LSU football, and just the 5th time they have won 10 or more games. Not bad your second year for Jerry DiNardo.
I agree. He's done an outstanding job with this program. And to think that their two key players, Tyler and Falk, are both sophomores, it would appear the best is yet to come.
And a bit of a math as he heads to congratulate Tommy West for a hard-fought defeat. Clemson will end its 96 season at 7-5. Another close Peach Bowl. LSU ending an ACC run of 4 wins in a row. So for Todd Christensen and Pam Ward, Dave Barnett saying so long from Atlanta, where the final score for LSU, a 10-7 victory over Clemson. Sealed by the block. Coming up next, SportsCenter. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.